Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm your co-host for Dave, and I'm here with my two other co-hosts. Of course, MK Tom Brady and Rio. Say hi, guys.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I've been waiting 20 years for this episode.
Hey everybody, welcome. This is episode 43 of the podcast, and this is going to be kind of a continuation from our last episode regarding more UMK3 talk. And we're joined by No Doubt. For those of you who aren't familiar on No Doubt, he's an amazing UMK3 player. Probably one of the best all-time greats because he has been competing for some time now. And if I'm correct on this, you do have the most tournament wins in UMK3. Is that true? No Doubt?
I actually don't know.
For USA players,
He's
I mean.
been competing
I'm
for
talking
what,
about for
12,
USA.
13 years,
Yeah,
right?
I don't know because before I came in the scene, I don't know how many Shock had won when he was running his local ones or whatever. But maybe I do. I won 10 in a row, I think. But that's
Wait a
Yeah,
minute,
see,
hold-
that's a lot. I think you probably have the
Hold on
most.
a minute, man. I gotta stop.
Wait, hold on. Before people mail, I'm not
this is
saying the
already bad.
world. I'm saying one of the most established USA players, if not the most, with tournament wins.
Hold on.
Someone's gonna listen. They're gonna be like, "Wait a minute, Rio star."
No. I just want to get this out there because just so the OGs don't harp on other stuff. There are people who have won a gabillion UMK3 tournaments. You're talking about in the more modern competitive scene, correct? Because I don't want some people out there to be like, "Well, I won 30 weeklies back in the day." You're talking
Yeah, I'm
about the more
talking
modern
since
scene,
2006 to now. So the
okay,
past
I
like
just
20
want to get
years.
that out there just so you know how it is, man. Somebody on
Yeah,
Twitter is
no.
going to say,
I'm not
"What?"
talking about the 8 or
Okay.
so years on arcade. I'm talking about the last 20
Okay.
years since
That's
online.
what I mean. The last 20 years. Okay, I just want to clarify that just so we don't have stupid Twitter posts that have nothing to do with the subject.
Yeah, so Aaron's a very, very good and talented player, and he's here to discuss UMK3. And Tom, do you want to get started with what you wanted to say earlier regarding on currently what's going on and the word getting around?
Yeah, so this is pretty simple to me. A lot of UMK3 players reached out to me, and I have a lot to say, but I'm going to keep it compartmentalized. And this is very simple. This is all started by Detroit going to CKK and winning, but this actually started before that because apparently he went last year and he won. And he said, CKK, if you want, he said, it's all my haters out there who are saying XYZ. So apparently this talk about Detroit and the keyboard has been going on for well over a year. If you read a lot of the comments in last week's or 2 weeks ago's videos, you see many people who say they believe Detroit is a B-level player who is made better by the keyboard. Now, for me, I don't buy that. Just as someone who has, maybe UMK3 players have not played Detroit in other games, but as someone like myself who has played Detroit in MK9, he played me just for fun, and his Devora for fun had probably the highest execution you could probably have. Detroit in general has a very, very high degree of execution, and I don't think anyone should doubt that. However, what it comes down to is, and I don't know why Detroit's defending these people, because a lot of the UMK3 community is saying that Detroit is unable to do what he's doing glitch jabbing wise on anything other than the keyboard. In fact, it is now being said by the UMK3 community that glitch jabbing to the level that Detroit is doing it is not possible on anything but keyboard. So they're saying it's cheating because it's not possible to do it to that degree on stick or a pad. And if that is the case, then sure, I could understand to try to make the case for keyboard to be illegal. The other issue is it just also seems to be, and I'm surprised Detroit's not calling them out. People have played UMK3 on keyboard since 2000 when he was on Kylara. They've been glitch jabbing on keyboard for God knows how long. Nobody complained about it for years, 10, 15, 20 years. Now, Detroit has apparently taken this to the next level. And now, after 20 years, they finally find someone who does it better than them, who's beating all of them. Now, all of a sudden, the keyboard is an unfair advantage. So the issue ultimately is that if it is now being decided by at least half the UMK3 community that the keyboard gives you an unnatural edge in glitch jabbing, then the keyboard technically is an unfair advantage. But why would the keyboard be an unfair advantage? Oh, because it takes glitch jabbing, and at the most omega level, it appears now that is a problem. So the problem is never the keyboard. The problem is the glitch jab. This is an open and shut case. It's in the game. You obviously can't do anything about it. Nobody should complain about it. Just accept the way it is. Keyboard's been used for 20 fucking years. Glitch tapping's been done for 20 fucking years. It is what it is.
Yeah, so this leads me to say this, because apparently this has been the talk lately. And I was I was talking to Judge earlier, he was going to be one of the guests on this episode, along with No Doubt, but he couldn't make it because he's doing some stuff at work. But there may be a possibility he joins in later on the show. But he was mentioning to me that there's been talk of, certain people saying that glitch tabbing is so overpowered right now that it should be banned. And I was apparently lumped into this because I made a video on it, but I never once in the video did it say it should be banned, or it's too strong that it can't be stopped, or this or that. So I find it weird how I got lumped into that. So I want to ask you guys, is glitch jabs really strong to the point where it should be banned? Is it the problem, or what actually is the issue that people are having?
I think no
It's
doubt.
because you can block and attack at the same time.
Wait,
Let the expert, let the guy who plays the fucking game, let him answer. No doubt.
Yeah, I
Go
was
ahead.
like, Rio, is anyone that plays the game going to be on the show? That's the number one question I asked Jugs because I thought he was going to be on. I'm like, well, if you're going to go on, definitely get Detroit and, whoever's active. First of all, I don't know. I didn't see any drama about glitch jabs recently until I saw just these random videos that popped up that seemed just fabricated, like to just create drama. I didn't see anywhere articles written. This is like 15-year-old news. So I don't know who's been complaining about glitch jabs except maybe Summoning and James and people that have just made these uploads recently. Otherwise, I have not really heard anything about it because I've been on Fightcade for about over a year now. I'm playing with all the modern players. I've seen 3 or 4 phases of my life in this game, and the glitch jab thing is really old by now. Everyone is using them these days, and everyone's playing them, whether casually or high level. It's just sort of a normal thing. So I don't understand. There hasn't really been any complaints about glitch jabs, but at the same time, I think that it's good the topic is here just to talk about, so that new players that have no idea about them can at least learn about them and then adapt. Since I don't think they're going to be taken out of the game by the developers releasing Legacy. But that's one thing I wanted to say. Like I didn't see any drama about glitch jabs, and aside from these uploads that just popped up.
So from what? Wait, let me
Because
just say this. From
Detroit say that he was going to go win. If there was no uproar, why are people making a big deal and cataloging that Detroit said he was going to go there and win on a stick? And not only
Right.
did he not have a stick, but he had multiple modded keyboards to play on other consoles. So if it's not a big deal, why would he even need to make that claim? It's coming from somewhere, is what I'm saying. Somebody is calling him out for something. So it's not like Summoning made this up out of nowhere. It's not even, it has nothing to do with Summoning. He's only reacting to what's going on right now.
Yeah, and I'll say this: a week and a half ago, it was last weekend. I was hit up by James MK, who told me, and he was telling me, because I didn't even know the tournament was happening last week until I was told by James, and he was like, Detroit just won a tournament. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Like, where was it? This and that. And then he got the details, and he said, yeah, people in the chat were complaining about the keyboard, and then the glitch jabbing makes the game look dumb and this. And I'm like, and then we had a discussion about it. I'm like, all of this drama happened a while ago, and now it's kind of resurfacing. And we started talking about, like, what is going to happen when this Legacy collection comes out? Is it going to come back? Are people going to expressing? And James was telling me that there was people, expressing that it's not enjoyable. And now it seems to be leaking into the keyboard talk. So what Tom said earlier what is the issue then? Is it the glitch jabs or is it the keyboard?
Yeah, well, first,
I just wonder where it's coming from. Like, where is this coming from? Because, it's
That's
got
what
to
I
be
was
coming from the
asking.
new community.
Yeah, because first of all, like, number one, first of all, I'm banned on Test Your Might. So I asked Jugs, I was like, did something go on Test Your Might? Because, that's like a big, a bigger, there's
That's
like
a
more
blessing.
stuff there.
That's a blessing.
Well, I don't know, and then I'm like, he didn't, he's like, no, there's nothing about it there. No one said anything about Detroit really there. And then let's go to Twitter. I mean, there's really nothing going on. I'm talking about before these uploads happened about glitch jabs and keyboards. I didn't see anything about Detroit written on Twitter. I didn't see anything written about, like, maybe some high level players and their own little private chats, or I don't know, some Discord discussions about, is keyboard fair or is keyboard not? It's more about, like, is the keyboard viable? But there was no glitch chat talk. So maybe Summoning and James and a few people maybe heard about, oh, some people have issues with the keyboard. So, all right, let's like add glitch jabs in this factor and let's have a talk about that. And, maybe talk about why the whole thing is just cheating and kind of go back to square one 15 years ago. And, you know what I mean? That's just maybe what's going on. But at the same time, it's just interesting that it's being brought up because, like I said, like when new players come in, now they could have an awareness, I guess, about what it is. And the thing is, what it does is it really makes UMK like really deep, a new depth that a lot of people don't understand. And the reason why they don't understand it is because there's really no tutorials and no guides, effective guides that really show you how to deal with the glitch jabs on an extremely high level. So, and I made some clips too to try to help this podcast to show strategies from basic to mid to advanced, how to deal with these jabs and how it makes matches very dynamic, interesting, and more, high level than ever, in a sense. But that's another. I mean, we'll get there, I guess.
Let
In
me
your
just get let
opinion,
me let
is
me
it
Tom, hold
possible to
on,
do that?
Tom.
I'm sorry.
Tom, let me just
Mm.
say this real quick. Let me just ask because he still plays the game at a high level. So you think that's like this is the pinnacle, this is the epitome of high level Mortal Kombat gameplay to you?
I mean, these days, most likely, yeah. Now, I started in like late 2010. I think I was at my best in 2011. I still do. Like I was just sharper back then. I was like 20 years old. It's been like 15 years since I talked to Rio, by the way. So what's up? And yeah, now you know what I mean. Now I just kind of I since then I kind of played to support and just have fun. And I only really take credit for 2 of the tournament wins out of the 10. The rest were just I was just trying to have fun and go to local events and support. And but I still got to witness all the stages from Arcade Collection to, well, first I was on main, then Arcade Collection, and then Fightcade is really the new thing right now. And now I'm seeing not only high level new players and old players, but also international masters from all continents all playing together in some kind of way. And you're seeing new things and learning the new, what people are using, how they're using the hardware, how they're using new things. And it's just evolved in a way where it's a little scary for people that are older to adapt to so quickly. And it's just changes, you know what I mean? It's like growing pains to kind of adapt to new things. It's frustrating at first, but the the label of cheating versus um broken, like I think those are two separate kind of things. That's kind of where this, I think, podcast has a discussion, is we're having a talk about like the difference. To me, I kind of separate the two. You could have something broken, but you maybe not label it as cheating. And I had talked about this in a previous interview, but that interview got deleted.
Well, in your opinion,
Yep.
is I guess here's what it comes down to, because when
Yeah.
people were, again, I don't know who these people are that are calling Detroit out for cheating. I know it came from somewhere because then I
Mhm.
know Detroit, and Detroit would not say something like, "Oh, I'll bring my stick and win," unless some people put in doubt the ability to do what he does on something not a keyboard. Now, I can speak for Detroit's execution. It's second to none. I can speak for that personally. I played him in other. Some UMK3 players haven't played him in other games. Maybe they don't know.
I see
However,
Detroit in the lobby every night, dude. Yeah, I know.
let me. But I'm
Yeah.
saying I played him in other games not in UMK3, and his execution is still at the highest magnitude. My
Mhm.
question to you is: it is being said that the keyboard allows you to glitch step in a manner that is not possible to do at the same rate on a
Mhm.
stick or a pad. Is that true?
I believe it is. Yeah, and that's where some
So it is
players
possible to
and
do it on a stick and a pad the same way as a keyboard.
no, I said it. I'm sorry. It's it's possible to glitch jab at a higher rate, at a better rate on keyboard over
Okay.
a pad, a stick, or over pads or sticks. Basically, that's pretty much the three, right? And hitbox and keyboard are more proficient, precise, and also I don't know if you guys know input response, MS input response. I have data on that if you want me to read it. Keyboard has lowest, fastest input response of all, 1S. Over
So
my pad has like 10, 8. No, I'm sorry. My pad is like 12, 10 to 12 ms. So there's a 10 to 11 ms advantage over what I use, you know, and it's almost as if a keyboard player, if I go up against a keyboard player, hitbox player, they have hit priority, they have, it's just a lot of advantages that I can mash as hard as I can and it's not going to work. Me canceling my jabs with low kick and block and down back versus a keyboard player that cancels jab with low kick, down back, they're going to beat me every single time. So there is an advantage using a keyboard. But is it
Well,
cheating? No, I don't
yeah,
think so because now we're living in a world where you could use whatever you want. It really comes down to who's in charge and what rules they're setting. So if someone says we're running a tournament and it's illegal to use keyboard and someone uses it anyway, that's cheating. But if he allows everything to be used, then the problem is the tournament host or whoever's making the rules. Just like in the game, there's a lot of broken things. It comes down to you got to really blame the game and not really the player. So if I want to compete for real, like today, because I'm not really competitive anymore, but if I want to go up now, I have to probably learn keyboard to hitbox and just suck it up.
well, to
So
me, that in if okay, as long as it's a niche community, you guys do
Mhm.
whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean? It's a few of you. You play the game the way you like it. It's your rules. You play it on Fightcade. It's etc. Right? Everybody else can shut the fuck up about it.
But wait,
Right?
hold on. But what if when Legacy Collection comes out, these 2D MKs explode, they become massive, and instead
And
of there
that's the
being
problem.
but instead of there being one or a few players that are using keyboard now, what if it becomes like a massive scene where now you got thousands of top players going to tournaments and they're all running keyboard? Is it now all of a
Right,
sudden an
Have
issue?
people
Not
argue.
happen.
Right, yeah, it's not going to
So
happen. But let's just say
It's
the
not
team
gonna
is
happen.
bigger. Let's not say 1,000, Dave. Let's say
Okay,
a
100
few
top
more.
players that are as good as
Let's say
Detroit
100.
or better.
Let's just say 100, right? That's just for the sake of argument, Dave. Let's say 100. So my point is, let's say you have 100 players. 50 of them are keyboard players. The other
Mhm.
50 are on pad or stick.
Mhm.
If the people on pad or stick say, hey, if you're telling me that you being on keyboard have an advantage because it is not possible, no matter how much I practice, to do this to the level you are, then it is an equipment advantage, which in the modern era would warrant a ban on the equipment.
Right. That again, it comes down if a host is allowing both control. If a host runs a race and says, "All right, motorcycles and bicycles are both allowed," I mean, are you going to
Yeah,
blame
absolutely.
the people racing, or are you going to blame the host? I'm going to blame the host. Like, hello, bullshit. You should run one race with bicycles and one race with motorcycles. But in a tournament like CKK, Detroit is sort of on a motorcycle and everyone else is a little bit on a bicycle, and it's like
What I'm what
difficult.
I'm
You know what I mean?
confused about is people have been doing this for years. People have been playing on keyboard since
That's true.
2000. They've been
But they
glitch
weren't
jabbing on
good. They weren't
keyboard.
as good as they were
Well,
not
the
as good as
problem
Detroit.
is
That's the
no
point.
one as
That's the
dedicated to the
problem.
game with as much practice. Detroit's been grinding, putting in so much work. He's kind of like brought
Absolutely.
the keyboard to this level. Like he's kind of showcased how amazing he is as a player and how good the keyboard could be at the same time. Before this, you never had someone that was that. This almost reminds you of, for those of you that don't follow the Smash Melee scene, is they used to have years ago something called the Smash Hitbox. And when this came out, people playing on it were able to do things so precise that you could not do on a controller the way the game was meant to be played, that over time a lot of people pushed for it to get banned because it
Mhm.
gave you such an advantage over everybody else. Like people are like, wow, you could do all this stuff like to the frame. Like you're plinking everything like frame to frame. How are we supposed to even fight that when you can do that? It was so there was whole drama and stuff with that, and they got that stuff banned. But the thing is, regarding UMK3, it's different here because the reason why that got banned in the Smash scene is because they came out later into the year when people shut it down instantly. What makes it different here in the 2D MK community is that it's been around for so long and it's gotten a pass for decades. Now, all of a sudden, because someone was using what has been allowed for decades and became very good at it and showcasing how good it is now people are putting their foot down. They're like, no, this is dumb. So I feel like it's almost too late to do something about it. It just is what it is. And like No Doubt said, if you want to become really good at UMK3 and you want to play at your prime, your best that you possibly can, give yourself the best chance to win. Not only should you play top tier, but you should also probably play on a keyboard, not something like a controller or a stick.
Well, let me ask No Doubt this question because I think you guys are like, I think you need to like kind of like step aside a bit, not like disrespectfully. I'm just saying like you have to keep in mind that most people have never played the game ever before, like me, or like probably like
Sure.
95% of your audience. So I have this question. Most games offline I played on a PS5. who's gonna show up on a PS5 and use a keyboard control? Use a keyboard. Is
Well,
that even
that's
possible?
Well,
also the
Winter
next
Winter
problem.
Wars used to do that for MK9. Remember, there was this drama
Oh,
at
yeah,
MLG. There was
Yeah,
there was an outing at
No, that's what I
MLG
mean.
where
Like,
he got
educate
into
me. Like,
argument of player.
how's that possible? Like, yeah,
What
like,
do you,
and
well, you have a
Yeah, but
USB
you're
keyboard.
modded.
You plug it into the PlayStation, and it reads the inputs, and then you do
Yeah,
your
but
but is
input.
it
also, by the way,
possible
let
on a
me just say this
PS5?
about
Because I've
MLG.
never seen it. Is it
Yeah,
possible?
it
Yes,
is.
Yeah.
Winter Wars used to
Yeah,
play
okay.
MK9 at tournaments on keyboard, and at
Yeah,
one
fair enough.
MLG,
Fair
a
enough.
player wanted him DQ'd because they said he was doing things that you shouldn't be able to. There
But
was
see, I got the keyboard allowed. See, so I was the commentator.
yeah.
Winter Wars wanted to go. He said, "Hey, the rules say this is
Yeah.
banned.
And
If
Winter
it's
Wars
banned, I
was
can't
mad
go."
because he was allowed to play keyboard the whole time during MK9, and then they waited till like a year later with MLG
No,
to
they
say
didn't
something.
ban it. They allowed him to use it, and the reason why they allowed him to use it is MLG asked me, "Is it possible to do everything on keyboard, on stick or pad the same way?" And I said, "Rio's the perfect example. Rio played on hitbox. He played on pad. He did whatever he did with Cabal the exact same way. So yes, it is possible. It may take a little more practice to do it as proficiently. However, it is possible, which made the keyboard then unbanned. They banned it at first because in other games you see this thing. Again, but the whole thing is, Ariane, you hit the nail on the head. So did Rio. The issue is people have been doing this forever. No one had a problem with it. Rio made a point 2 weeks ago about a guy who had a modded controller so he could do instant air gas blast better. Nobody cared because he wasn't winning. Same thing. People have been glitch jabbing on keyboard for so long, but when you're playing him, win some, lose some. Then Detroit comes along, dedicates himself, grinds and grinds and grinds, and it's like, hey, we're not beating this guy. No fair. The keyboard gives him an unfair advantage. No one said anything about this for 20 years until somebody just came along and just wins and wins and wins and wins. And now all of a sudden, the keyboard is unfair and we need to look at it. So, for one, I'm surprised Detroit doesn't call this community out because they're the ones throwing shade at him. Like, hey, this is unfair. He wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't on a keyboard. So Ariane already established, hey, it is an advantage. However, it was just recently admitted by the community to be an advantage. Nobody said shit about this for 20 years. Now all of a sudden Detroit is showing it's an advantage. But the problem, Ariane, is why is it an advantage? The problem, if glitch jabs weren't in the game, nobody would say the keyboard is an advantage. The problem isn't the keyboard. The problem is the fucking glitch jabs. The problem is, again, there's nothing you can do about it. As a competitive player, you know if you don't do it, somebody else will. And if you want to compete, they're going to do it to you. You want to win, you have to do it back to them. There's no way to ban them. There's no way around it. It's in the game. When people like Summoning say cheating, and I want to defend him on this because I talked to him about it, he doesn't mean you guys are physically cheating or breaking the rules. Obviously, he can still tap into his old school competitive side and knows if it's in the game, it's allowed. You can do it to the other guy. You can play on keyboard like he can. You can glitch jab same as him. What he means is, to most players, they look at it as being able to block and attack, but to be able to attack and block everything in the game simultaneously is fucking stupid. That's what he's saying by that. That's what he means by that. By the rules of fighting games, if that was in any game today, it would be patched immediately. It just goes against the fundamental thing of fighting games. That's what he means by that. So I just wanted to defend him on that point also.
I just, for the
Well,
record,
first-
I don't think, but if I just may say real quick, I'll promise I'll be fast. Like, Rio did link me to a couple of videos. There was one guy saying, essentially, I forget the name because again, I'm not involved in this 2D community, but he was essentially saying, why is he allowed to do this? This is not, these games were never meant to be played like this because, you couldn't, I don't know, play your Mortal Kombat on your Sega Genesis and, plug in a controller. I don't even know if that's true or not, but again, my knowledge is limited, but like, there are two things going on here. Like, I think some people are definitely saying this, but to what extent this is a problem, and like Tom said, in a very, 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 very small community, I don't know. But no doubt, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting you.
Well, as far as yes, attacking and blocking at the very same time is, it could be frustrating, but it's also unique to the game as far as UMK already, even without glitch jabs, it plays so differently from most other fighting games. Like that's number one reason why it's always had a smaller, following. This is not a game like Marvel or Street Fighter where you have thousands and thousands and thousands of like big players and majors, and UMK's never been an Evo. I don't think I don't see it ever being there. People need to accept that it's also not the most balanced game. It definitely is broken in a lot of ways. It has all these infinites, it has all these glitches, it has all these broken elements, and that is the game. It is what it is. So at its core, you have either two options of either not playing it anymore, and if you're frustrated, no longer playing it, or doing what high level players do to win and adapt to the unique depth that the game has developed from these broken aspects that people have adapted to, basically, you know. But the glitch jabs, yeah, like attacking and defending at the same time, that's very unique to the game. It's a broken, unique feature, and at first when it appeared, it was really frustrating. It's like, all right, you could stand in place and just jab, and it's like, now what are you going to do? Like Rio's video that he posted recently of the Cabal and the Molina, and someone who doesn't know what they're doing, they're going to make all these mistakes. You're going to try to maybe sweep a little too close and then get thrown out, and then you're going to try to throw this out, and then you'll get punished, and throw that out and you'll get punished. But the more high level you get, the more you're going to learn how to defeat someone spamming high punch. And that's the first level. If someone's spamming high punch, that's so old now to deal with that. They basically turn into a punching bag. And then you you push them to the corner, and there's just too many ways to deal with it. Like in these modern times, like I said, if you hop on Fightcade, like almost every player glitch jabs. It's like very casual. Like everyone does it. It's like a basic technique now. So it's like really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, regarding that video made.
Somebody was
Hold
saying it's just
on.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Regarding the video made, I do have a video of how to counter that. That'll be uploaded tonight because it's processing. I had to redo it because my voice was all out of sync at the last one, and then it was annoying because I spent like 20 minutes recording for no reason. But yeah, I have that video coming out tonight. But regarding Evo and UMK3 and other games, there's a chance Evo may hold MK.
No.
It may be next year or whatever, but it really depends how big it's going to explode when this comes out. If this becomes massive and a lot of people are playing it, then there's a possibility it may be featured at Evo. You never know.
Well, it will not because
UMK3 has no shot of being at Evo. Dave,
well, I don't mind.
It really depends
I
how popular it gets and how people get into it. If people really like the game, they get into it, and it explodes. There's a chance.
Rio, you have talked about this. It cannot be popular by design. I have my hot take.
Right. Well, here's the thing, though. That's why I made that video. And what's funny is when I made that video and I saw some comments, people were like, Rio, why did you word the beginning scenario like that? Like, no same player is going to be playing the game and being like, wow, how's he doing all this? He's blocking. They're probably going to be like, is he cheating? What the hell is this? That is how people are going to react, probably.
Rio, listen, it has to do with the video that you made a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, but you get if the game doesn't have a rank system, and if the online is questionable, and if the game doesn't have
crossplay.
This is true. However, wait, hold on. It was said that they're looking to add crossplay in an early patch. So if they get their cards right, they add a rank and all that stuff, then there's a possibility.
Well, I'm not against the game being at Evo. If it is, it is. And I think it grows our scene. That's good. But I'm just saying, if there's no rank mode, it will be very, very... Can you imagine why would a low-level player like an entrant like me be paired up with, I don't know, somebody like No Doubt in the first match? It's just going to discourage me from playing, right? The game ever, right? Because I'm trying to learn. I should be paired up with people with the same level. If the game doesn't have basic features like that, it will never, the scene will never grow. It's hopeless. That's all I'm trying to say.
I agree with you. I'm just saying that
before we even take the first step into the meta, right? It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with you need basic.
No, you're saying the game has to be accessible. It has to have a ranked mode to grind. It has to have a good training mode. It has to have rollback, crossplay, all that stuff.
Yeah, but even crossplay is huge because even if it has ranked, you come online. People in the modern era, before they travel offline, they test their hand online. And if there's no avenue for online tournaments, it's going to be a problem. And how can you have online tournaments now without crossplay? Well, I play on PC. I play on PS5. I play on Xbox. A lot of modern players are not like the current UMK3 arcade scene. They Fightcade. They play MK11 or MK1 or whatever they play on their Xbox, on their PS5. Console players are a large part of the FGC. So obviously, you don't want to alienate the already established UMK3 players who are primarily on PC, but then you're going to alienate your new audience that you need for a tournament seed to grow and flourish. So without crossplay, you don't give access to two of the three platforms, the major ones anyway, to play in tournaments every week. And those people are going to lose interest. And they're going to say, well, I'm not going to have my first tournament be Evo. I can't even play in one online because I have it on PS5 and they're all PC, or vice versa. So without crossplay, the game has no shot of surviving.
This is precisely why I said they should have delayed this until next year, released it like in February. Because releasing the game in this state, when it's going to be at its most popular and in front of everybody's eyes in the first few weeks and months, and not having things like a ranked, crossplay, ranked rooms, that's like just it's a huge kick in the game's balls for them to release it like that, and then have what they could have had become such a popular game end up becoming less popular because it's not having basic features that literally every fighting game has on day one when it releases now.
Well, not really. I mean, MK1 didn't have the.
Yeah, but MK1's not the gold standard for MK1 has a lot of issues going on right now.
I understand, but it's like if their modern game doesn't have these basic features, why would a 25-plus-year-old game have these basic features? So I'm not really shocked at all. And again, I feel like discussing is a guy cheating or not, which by the way, the Troy Ball is not. But it's kind of like discussing.
It was legal for 20 years.
Yeah, first world problems. It's very, very silly. When I think we should be discussing why doesn't the game have these basic. If you want the game to succeed, I'm not going to be toxic like it was MK11. I do want the game to succeed. I don't want anybody feeling left out, right? But like that, these basic features, if you truly want the game to succeed, if you truly want to build a scene, if you truly want people to get the credit for their execution and their hard work over 2 or 3 decades, then the game needs to have certain features. And if the game doesn't have that, then all these other topics, they're essentially irrelevant. And honestly, they just are.
I want to address 3 things with Arion here. First, I did talk to Summoning. I said I would make this very clear for him. Do you understand by when he says cheating, he's just talking about a fundamental rule of fighting games, not that you're actually cheating or breaking a rule. So I just want to say, do you understand how somebody could make that point? When you say cheating, it comes off like you're doing something unfair or foul. That is like a hack or some bullshit. But he's just referring to the art of blocking and attacking by modern fighting games, especially standards, is, I guess, bullshit is what he's trying to say. That he's not trying to say you're physically cheating.
No, I understand. I understand. Yeah, what he's saying. Even though I agree with it? No, but I understand what he's saying. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to get that clear for him because people are misunderstanding that he's saying you're actually cheating, which is not what he's saying. The next thing is for those that are saying, because I saw that guy's video who's saying the game was not made to be played on anything like stick. Unfortunately for that guy and every other OG who says in the arcade, I understand that. However, in the modern era, at minimum, a control pad is standard. At bare minimum, there are more pad players today than stick players. This isn't the 90s where you had Super Nintendo, Genesis, and then the arcade, which everybody went to because Super Nintendo and Genesis were not even close. So it's not the 90s. Today, there are a lot of pad players. If you want your scene to grow, say pick up a stick, you're fucking stupid. You're eliminating 90% of the gaming audience. So but when it comes to keyboard, if in fact you're saying right now that it is an unfair advantage, what they're saying is, why is it even allowed? But is it not accurate that you guys are not saying, you're not denying that it's an unfair advantage? You're saying it's been allowed for 20 years. It's too late to go back. There are way too many keyboard players. It's been allowed. It's been accepted. Tournament organizers accept them because they know people are not going to show up if they ban them. So it is what it is. Is that kind of where we are on that?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's the modern tournament scenes. It's versatile in allowing people to just use whatever really they want, whatever they're comfortable with their hand. It's funny. Rio told me 15 years ago, he's like, watch, one of these days, people are going to be playing with their feet. You know, and I don't think he's kidding. What's going to happen
Sure.
in 10 years or 20 is probably people are going to, instead of using one keyboard, people are going to be using 4 and then playing with all 4 limbs. And you know what? That's not going to be cheating either, because I said this in another interview. By the way, I covered a lot about this stuff in this interview I did, but this dude deleted it. I don't want to go down that hole. But we're at a time right now where people are utilizing technology to get the most out of high level play, whatever device they have. I think Russia, that area, and that part of the world, like they seem to take it a little further. I don't know specific players. I don't want to call them out, but you know, people they use keyboard with multiple buttons, multiple inputs. I
See,
don't
that
know.
should
Let's
be
say 20.
banned. That shouldn't be
Well,
allowed.
the thing is, no, that's now the thing is, and I talked about this too. Like, now is that cheating or is it not cheating? Well, here's what I think: it's cheating if one person's doing it and one player can't or not allowed. But if two people are playing in, if two people are playing in a tournament, or and both players have the same equipment, it's all about having the same tools. If both players have keyboards and they have multiple inputs together, or if two people are using keyboards with macros, it's basically having the same set of tools. Then really it's equal. You know, it's all about having the same tool set. It's just like I said, going back to the race. If two people are on a motorcycle, or if two people are on a bicycle, you know what I mean? You have to have the same equipment. And then
But you do admit
then you have,
that it is an advantage on a keyboard when someone is on a stick or a pad versus
it
someone
is
else.
an advantage. It's I think you don't need, it's not even an opinion. It's a fact. It is an advantage. It's more precise. The input response is the fastest. You could do things way easier. You could dial up things quicker. There's just way more dexterity and execution. It's just way more precise. There's I play hitbox and keyboard players often on Fightcade. I have a lot
Mhm.
of experience fighting them. I play like what, the number one Azerbaijan, or I don't know, he's the number one in the whole world right now, Ali, maybe. And his brother
Yep.
Izum, and I played
The Reptile player? Is the
Snowboy. Yeah, well, he
Is he
could play
playing?
anybody,
Okay.
but he
Okay.
mains Reptile and he also mains Shang, but he could play the whole cast. And you make
Yeah.
one mistake and you're dead. I mean, he can infit you 100% in any kind of ping and any kind of delay, and that's it. On Fightcade, though, it's very common in the modern gameplay. The execution has gone so sky high right now. If you make one mistake, you could be in 200, 300, 400 ping. You could even play someone from South Korea in 300 ping on Wi-Fi. You're gonna get infinited to death, and that's it. And that player is also on a keyboard. So the you know what I mean? The modern time is like just utilizing any technology to get the most out of a character, even doing things the character can't do on a traditional arcade setting or traditional controller, even though the game wasn't intended to play like that traditionally, or by the developers, or by the emulator or the port or whatever. We're in a new time now where people are getting more out of a character, but it's all about making sure two players have the same set of tools if they want to compete. So one is, you know what I mean? Then it's an equal playing field. But if you say one player can use something and now the other player can't, then that's cheating. You know what I mean? If a host allows, like I said, if a host allows a motorcycle and a bicycle race, the host is to blame. You know. Um,
I agree. And I want to say something to the OGs, and it's a thing that OGs don't like to hear. To all of you OGs, I understand. It hurts seeing these younger players do what they do. The difference between me, I had a big falling out with the UMK3, myself and Jugs years ago. We're all cool now. We have a mutual respect, but there was a misunderstanding. I had a falling out because I did what I did in UMK3 and MK4. People in Russia, South America will tell you there was no one better at MK4 back in those days. But I was the first one to say, "Hey, you know what? They've taken the game to a level we haven't. I mean, how can they not? You know, I stopped playing MK4 in like '99, and you guys are in UMK3 in like '97. You guys were still playing it in the 2000. Like they played it for a decade longer. And by default, how can they not? With 8 more years of experience, have taken the game to a higher level. To say otherwise is stupid. A lot of these older players have a hard time accepting that. When I had no problem with it. I'm just like, look, you know, I did what I did back then. You guys have taken the game to a higher level. I've moved on. Great for you guys. The UMK3 community back then was like, well, why aren't you winning UMK3? Why? Because I'm winning in Tekken 4 and this game and Dead or Alive and MK Deadly Alliance and this game. I'm like, no, you know, what does it matter? To the point that I once went to Chicago and Lex. Look, a lot of these Chicago greats, they're all frauds. Every last one of them. They're all not what they claim to be. I told Shock this a long time ago. I said, brother, I'm on your side. These guys are not tournament players. Let me tell you why WaveNet was so big. WaveNet was big because all these guys at Diversions, Adam Hernandez, Lex, every single one of them, I know them all very well. They may bullshit you guys who weren't around. These guys were the absolute gutter, garbage, fucking trash at MK4. So they were like, oh, well, play WaveNet. It was no different than regular MK3. The only thing WaveNet did was add Noob Cybot and take away the Striker Infinite, the Kung Lao Infinite. Anyone who thinks it's going to play like another game is sorely mistaken. They loved it so much because they were garbage at the current game. So they went to WaveNet. They were not tournament players. They judged who was top by who got the streaks on WaveNet. That's not a tournament. The minute Lex went to a tournament, he got mopped up by Shock and said, this is just for fun, right? You're not going to tell anybody, right? I mean, then, now Mo was the greatest one. They were all chokers. They're not tournament players. Rio beats him. He crumbled under the pressure, tried to turn into Cabal Mirror and lost. And proof after proof after proof that these Chicago players were nowhere near what they claimed to be, even without glitch jabbing. Also, the old school player has had a hard time accepting that the current players have just taken the game to another level. I understand you're old school. You remember your days of competing in the arcade. Look, I loved it. I loved it when I was the king of kings back in the late 90s. Great. It was great. Going to arcades, tournaments, beating people. But these players look at the shit people are doing on the N64 pad in South America. We weren't doing straight up jump kicks like that. We just weren't. It's just the facts. And I have played for fun in some tournaments. I've actually done even better. I don't want to talk about who I've beaten, whatever, because I'm nowhere near the level of you guys. But I realized, I said, you know what? I could get back into the game. I could glitch jab. I would be a top player still. However, I don't like it. It's not. I just don't like it. So rather than, oh my God, the jabbing, I'm just not going to play, which I didn't. I moved on, played newer games. Let you guys played UMK3. I talk very highly of you guys who have taken the game to levels that nobody in the 90s ever did, despite the bullshit they say. And I think they should do the same thing. And also, if you are an OG, nothing is stopping you from playing with your friends on, whatever. It's not like Fightcade. You can now have a legacy collection. You don't have to download some program. You just put a game in. If you want to play with your friends who you played in the arcade back then, you can. You don't have to glitch jab. No one is forcing you to play Jugs or Arion or Detroit or someone like that. It's just, you have to understand, just like you guys want to play the game for fun, these guys want to play to be competitive. And just like they're not going to tell you how to play for fun, you shouldn't tell them how to compete. If you don't like the glitch jabs, then just say competitive UMK3 is not for me. You can say, I find it bullshit, and it's your opinion. Even Arion is sitting there saying, yeah, it's broken. The keyboard is what it is. However, it's in the game. People are going to do it. If we want to compete, we have to do it. That's the rules of competition. No one does a war in real life and says, no fair, you used an unfair tactic to win. When it comes to competition in any way, if it's possible, if it's legal, people will do it, and you have to do it to compete. So it's just the OG players, I understand where they're coming from, but they gotta let it go. They've got to let it go. You've admitted everything they wanted to hear today. Oh, it's the glitch jabs are the way they are. I understand blocking and attacking, and yes, the keyboard's advantage. All you OG players should be satisfied with that. However, it is in the game. It's not policeable. It's always going to be used. There's nothing you can do about it. So the only thing OG players can do is let the competitive scene compete, and you guys play for fun. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it. If you have anything to say, Ariane, you can go ahead.
Yeah, well, two points. The first of all, a lot of players that are against the glitch jabs, the main argument they have, besides labeling it as cheating or whatever, is, well, it makes the game look absolutely stupid, and you have two people punch in the air, and then that's it. First of all, that's like really old news. That was a while ago, like when no one really knew how to deal with them. The only way they knew how to deal with them back then was like, oh, sweep. What else should I do? You know what I mean? Like, then yeah, it looks stupid. You have two people punching in the air, and they didn't really know what else to do. They were pretty much stationary. Not much mobility, just not really knowing what to do. Now go here. on Fightcade, you know, and you see the top player from like Brazil, and then the top players from other continents, and just a bunch of high level players fighting every night or every week, and both, you know, you have player A and B who both can glitch jab at, you know, extreme high level. The matches are incredibly dynamic, and the depth, the amount of depth in high end, you know, play today is like really. And even back then, like when I was playing in 2011, like it was just, it added a level of depth that I don't think can be achieved if you played without glitch jabs, because with the glitch jabs, it prevents you from spamming. I mean, you know, doing random attacks. Um, you the window of having an opening is really small. You have to really like read your opponent, see when they let go of pressure, when they have an opening, to figure them out, and it just makes it a lot more difficult to get openings. The more harder it is to get an opening, the more deep and dynamic the matches become. There are certain, you know, there are certain matchups that I'm not a fan of watching, like two Ermac players that are really, really high level. I don't like that mirror match because it's like, you know, what can Ermac really do other than jab? There are some matchups that I'm not like a fan of watching, but most of the matchups, especially these days, there's so many things that people do to deal and fight with the glitch jabs. There's like a lot of combo breaking. There's a lot of seventh frame throws, ambiguous cross ups. There's a lot of seventh frame counters. There's a lot of different timing. There's a lot of jab interruptions. There's seventh frame. Did I say seventh frame throw already?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, I made some clips to even share in the chat. And if people made a little bit more tutorials and guides to really showcase how to deal with jabs on a not only a basic but also a very high level, you could see the depth, dynamic, and you know what I mean, the the technique to deal with it, and just see how, you know, deep the game gets.
But why do we sugarcoat this? This is what, like, again.
Tom, let me jump in. Let me
Go
just
ahead,
jump
Dave.
in and say this. Yeah, I have to say this. Uh, Tom, well, speaking of sugarcoating, Tom's point about the community, I disagree. I think people again should be able to play the game however they want. It's not the community. It's not the glitch apps. The game is not very good. Like that's really what's going on right here. And there's a reason why I keep saying. By the way, it's not just Ultimate. I say this about most older games. They're not very good. Why? Because people are trying to play a game competitively that was never designed to be played competitively, right? Harada will tell you Tekken Tag Tournament 1. Yeah, we just kind of put it together like, I don't know, like a month or so. We just try to make money, right? Like that's really what he
Yeah.
said to the fans, right? So
Mhm.
the point is, it's a people are trying to play a fighting competitively that was never
Mhm.
meant to be competitively by developers who had absolutely no idea what they were doing, zero clue, zero. And we
Mhm.
had like a very niche community who's trying to make it work. By the way, again, I maybe real or maybe even no doubt will interpret it as I'm like shitting on the players. No, I respect the execution, including in a game like even Smash, right? Melee. Like I'm just saying, you guys are trying to like play something competitive that was never meant to be, right? Nowadays, developers have a better sense of. It's like, you know what? Let's not make a fighting game where we have to argue whether if this guy uses a a keyboard, whether he's cheating or not. Because you guys remember, if you even go back to the Coco mid history of the fighting community with 3 out of 4, like people would like map the start button as something so they can plink and do a combo easier. There's a reason why all that stuff is gone because it's stupid. It's dumb. It should have never existed. We shouldn't argue like, oh my God, he uses a hitbox, he has the advantage, and this guy doesn't. Now he's at this. Like, this is dumb. Again, there's a reason why all the stuff in the modern games are gone. And yes, the modern games have other issues, but they don't have these dumb issues, at least that I would classify as such. So that's, I think, the elephant in the room. These are all like extremely silly topics, but like a very, very minor community who's still playing this game competitively. And again, God bless them. But there's a reason. If you go to Fightcade, there are thousands of players playing Third Strike, and Rio told me that he has a very difficult time finding games for Ultimate, and I think there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
I
and
think that's the
ultimately,
elephant in the room.
yeah, and ultimately also, let me tell you what everybody else hears though. That I understand what you're saying. I understand UMK3. You know, I don't play it anymore, but I believe me, I can interpret it very well. I was not a bad player, and I understand the game at a high level. Even though I don't glitch up, I understand what it is. I understand what you guys do. I understand why it changes the game from what it was, and most people don't even know what it is without glitch jabbing because they didn't play it like that. They just know what it is now. So they're like, oh, take away the glitch jabs, fixes everything. Also wrong. Um, but when you say, oh, it's harder to, to get that opening, but the reason why it's harder to get that opening is because you're not open even when you're attacking. It's harder to get the opening because while you're attacking, you are simultaneously guarding against every attack in the game. And
Right.
I understand the execution element, and you have to practice it, and it's not easy to do everything going on in the game while glitch jabbing because you have to worry about everything else going on besides just jabbing.
Mhm.
However, when people hear that, they're like, but isn't it harder to get an opening because you're guarding against every attack while attacking me?
It's very hard, extremely hard sometimes, but you know what? There are openings. And the only way you could find that is not only number one, leveling up, and number
Mhm.
two, knowing how to read your opponent. And that is where things become very deep in extremely high level play. And you know what I mean? That's what's really lacking now is just enough strategy guides that really showcase, you know what I mean? Like how to deal and how to strategize. Because really the best players, the number one tactic, in my opinion, above everything is thinking 5 steps ahead of your opponent, and basically knowing what to do from start to finish. And that's like really, it's just, it takes a talent and not everyone really has it. You either have it or you don't, not everyone's gifted like that. But um, another thing though is like a lot of players might think glitch jabs are broken, but and then in the point of UMK not really being good of a game, yeah. And first of all, it's not on the level balance wise as like most games run at Evo or like Street Fighter or Marvel or all these big games. It isn't. It is what it is. Number two, if you want to talk about broken aspects in UMK, glitch jabs are no longer really, it's like a normal thing now. There's way more broken things in the game that are legitimately broken in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, one mistake, there's infinites. So many
Mhm.
infinites now. There's the corner jab trap, the slow and the fast, and the high punch and the low punch. You could beak a ball, you could bait them to the corner and then slow jab them to death and that's it. Done. You just do that all day. So there are stupid, broken aspects, ridiculously broken, that prevent the game from, being as balanced as some of these bigger games, more modern games, possibly letting it run at Evo or like more places in the world, keeping it from having a bigger community. That's why it's always had a smaller community. But yeah, that's the reality of the game. But people have, you know what I mean, with these, let's say you want to call them flaws. It has created, still a dynamic evolution in a way. People are a little bit more on their toes. They know one mistake or two mistakes they're done. They are a lot more just it keeps you on your feet more. It makes you more of a careful player. Makes you more focused. You know, so it's
You know,
just yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I understand what you're saying. And for all you OGs out there, I hope I made your arguments well. And now, here's my opinion. I think, for one, just for me, I don't know where this is coming from with Detroit because it started all this drama. My opinion on this is rather than call Detroit out at UMK3 community, just say the truth. We were fine with it until somebody used keyboard and dedicated themselves to a level. And now it's not okay because we can't beat him. Just call it what it is. Stop calling him a cheater because you never called anybody else who glitch jabbed. Like Ariane said, it's commonplace. Even casuals are glitch jabbing. It's not like Detroit is the first person to glitch jab on keyboard. Nobody had anything to say about it in 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, all these years, 20 years, 19 years. No one had anything to say about it until a guy comes around that you just can't fucking beat. So rather than just say, hey, we're salty because it was fine until we couldn't beat somebody doing it, and now we want to cry foul and say, yeah, some guy in the comments said, Detroit's a B-level player who plays on the keyboard. Well, that sounds to me like you had no problem with other people you considered B-level players playing on keyboard until you found someone you thought was a B-level player, and he just beats you over and over and over again, and now all of a sudden the keyboard's an advantage. It
I think I
sounds
know
to
the
me like
comment.
Yeah,
I think I know what you're talking about now. First of all, that's Mr. I Got Bass. So it could be just one person flooring up a whole shit of drama.
Oh, is that base?
Yeah, I think he says like 3 aliases talking on that video.
I don't know if it's
First of
base.
all,
Look,
Wait,
It's cool.
hold on.
wait. What is the name of the account
I
that
don't
said
remember.
this?
And look, and I like base, and I respect base because base was the first one to
Legacy
really draw attention to
Collection,
this.
and then like another one, James
Wait,
Weber.
that's
There's like a couple
base?
names. Yes, of course. You
I
didn't know
had a
that? It's so
hunch
obvious.
because
I didn't know it was
okay.
base.
Yeah.
You know what's so weird? I had a hunch because I was reading these like ridiculous comments that were saying the most absurd stuff. Like,
I thought you guys already knew. It's I
No,
thought it was obvious.
no,
We
it's
all of
called.
us,
How
all
am I
of us
supposed to know
knew.
that's
We
We were
base?
all in
all
the
of
Discord
base's
saying it.
aliases.
We already knew it was him. Yeah, we all knew it was him. It's just obvious. I thought you guys knew that.
No,
It
I
makes
didn't know.
so much sense
Oh.
now because some of the comments that were being. I'm like, who are these people saying this? Like, this is all
No, it's
completely
just one
false.
dude. It's just one dude. But there's a couple points though. First of all, he didn't say Detroit's a B rank player. He said he beat at best B rank players. He had no competition there. First of all, yeah,
Okay,
CKK.
okay. Well, I want to clarify my
Wait,
mistake.
but
I
is it
read the
fair
quote.
to say that no good players were at CKK?
I was
Okay,
about to finish. Yeah, but go ahead. Do you want to finish,
who
Tom?
was that? Wait, who did? Okay, in
Mhm.
general, if Detroit just beat B ranked players, my mistake based from misquoting you. If he only beat B ranked players and he wasn't dominating on Fightcade, this would not be a talking point. In no other game in history does someone go to a tournament, beat who the community considers to be B level players, and the people cry foul, cheating. They would just say, of course, he's a high level player beating lesser players. Of course, he whatever. So the problem is, this stems from the UMK3 community, the people that are voicing this, a little bit of salt from, I'm not saying base because I misquoted base there. My apologies, base. So I'm not saying base is the one saying whatever, but there are a lot of people in the UMK3 community who are calling Detroit out. And obviously it's not from beating what they consider to be B-level players, but it's because of just years of beatings that Detroit has handed out. He went to the first CKK, his first one last year, and won. So this is for all my haters. I went and watched the video, saw the comments, and it's like there are people that have obviously been hating on Detroit online long before he competed at a CKK this year or last year. And
All right.
this
Well,
is
yeah.
go ahead. Yeah, tell me the scoop on that.
Well, what I was reading from that comment, and I can't recall if someone else had mentioned the problem here is apparently Detroit is able to use pad or stick. I think stick as well. And if you're competing in a tournament where no one's using a keyboard and everyone's using either a pad or a stick, then to be as fair as possible, you should come and compete with a pad or a stick to showcase, skill versus skill, not hardware versus hardware. And I think that's the comment I think Base was saying, and maybe other people was like, well, he can play on stick, said he was going to show up on a stick, but instead of
And that's
coming
where
with a
he went
stick,
wrong.
he
Yeah.
came with a
Wait.
keyboard,
Did
and not only
Detroit
just
really say
not.
this, or did someone
Let me
say he
finish,
did?
dude. Huh?
Did Detroit really say that, or did someone say he did?
First, yeah, that I don't know. I don't know if he said he was going to go to the tournament and it's with a
Because
stick
that
and prove it.
sounds like Detroit wouldn't say, "I'm going to prove you guys. I'm going to show up to the tournament, play on stick or controller, and beat you guys." I don't. That's like seems like a weird thing for Detroit to say.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything but hearsay on that, so I don't have anything factual that says that.
But sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know, but they say that he came with not just any keyboard. Like Winter brought a standard traditional keyboard. This is not a traditional keyboard. This is a modded keyboard, and it's custom made. And I don't know. Someone said he brought 2 types, and one had an N64 something on it. I don't know. Now this goes into weird territory. Like I don't know. The ethics of the host. If someone does come with a keyboard that's modded and custom built, should it be tested for having SOCD? What is it called? SOCD cleaner, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff. This does bring up a conversation about how far can you push it? What should the
Yeah.
host allow? What should the host not allow? What did Detroit bring to the tournament? Do I know? I don't know. This is all I heard. He brought modded keyboards. They were custom made. I don't really know much about what was going on in there. When someone makes a custom keyboard, well, I mean, it could be traditionally made for cosmetic purposes, or maybe they did, you could kind of like go all out and do things that a normal keyboard can't. I don't know. And I don't know if there's any testing going on with the controllers at that tournament. I don't think so, but I don't know. So now I do know Detroit can play on stick, and I think he can play on certain pads, but I don't know exactly what pads. So maybe some people did have an issue. I'm just saying maybe people had a problem with him not playing fair and going to the boxing ring and fighting the same gender. It's like a man going into the boxing ring with a bunch of women and
No,
beating
no.
them up and saying,
What it sounds
you
to
know what I
me
mean?
like sour grapes. It sounds like a community who has been salty at Detroit for well over a year, who, acted like, oh, one thing or another. He goes to a tournament, wins, and then it's like, well, he's doing it because he's beating B players and he's playing on a keyboard, and the keyboard's an advantage. But before Detroit, you did this was. I mean, I'm sure that there are. We've been to plenty of. I've been to plenty of tournaments for MK9 area where you were at. People were playing on keyboards and all the other kind of controllers. After the tournament, there was no threads or no podcasts about, oh my God, you see so and so on the keyboard? None of that shit existed. All of a sudden now, all these years later, people want to start calling out Detroit for his hardware and so on and so forth. This sounds like people who are upset that a very skilled player is winning, and they say, you know what? People have not done this traditionally to this level in the past. We now want to cry foul and say, take that keyboard away and see how good he is. This is just sour grapes. You had no problem with it until finally someone came around that you weren't beating anymore. And now all of a sudden it's a problem. So the UMK community, just call it what it is. Say, we're salty. This guy is winning. And now we want to enforce the rule and say, you know what? That is an advantage. And this shouldn't be, just call it what it is. Just say you're salty and you want to enforce the rule and blah, blah, blah. Stop trying to make it out like, whatever. And the next thing on for people who are like, oh, the glitch jabs, ban the glitch jab, etc.
Tom, let
Again,
me just jump in and
go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Let me just say this for a wider audience because you keep talking about the UMK3 community. I honestly don't know who you're talking about. Are you talking about like this is a game that can't get like 100 people on Fightcade? Like who are we talking about? Let's be real here. Like
No,
I've been
Fightcade's
hitting.
actually loaded, dude. Fightcade is loaded most nights, actually.
Okay, well, let
Yeah.
me say this first, and then I'll promise to let you respond. Like I've been critical of Third Strike for many years. They have an Evo. They get over 1,000 players. They even easily beat even our modern games, for
Mhm.
NRS at least. And then Marvel, I think the numbers were honestly a little bit lower than expected this year. So Rio tells me that the game, like doesn't perform very well on Fightcade. So I'm going by his data, and obviously I'm speaking for him. He's here. He can speak for himself.
True.
I just feel like we're talking about a very very tiny amount of quantity of players. I don't understand also why we're addressing Mr. Bass and his 10 alternative accounts. Like it seems like a very silly topic to me to even address this issue. Again, I'm just trying to make this clear because if people will misconstrue my argument. I'm not saying I don't respect the players who are still playing, who've been putting in the work for years, and who've been grinding the game like Super Turbo players who've been developing the meta. God bless them. I'm just saying, is this really worth talking 2 hours about? And I say, hell no, this is a complete
I
waste
just
of
don't
time,
know
man.
why it was ever an issue, because to me it's very simple.
Well, Tom, I think there is a sour grape argument. I think there are some players who are like,
It's
it's
sour grapes
Detroit
for sure.
balling. Yeah, he's an MK9 player. Why is he, why is he beating all of us? Well, maybe because he's better than you guys. Like there is an aspect of that. But other than
Exactly
that,
right.
like you MK3
Because he does
community,
that. He does that better than you. He's glitched. He's doing this better than you. You can blame the hardware. You can blame whatever, but you didn't blame shit. You had nothing to say until someone like Detroit came around and was winning consistently. And then two, for all these people saying glitch jabs, cheap, yada yada yada, it doesn't fucking matter. It's in the game. You can do it. It's not like one player has access to this tactic and the others don't. It's in the game. In the world of competition, if it's in the fucking game and you can do it the same as your opponent, it's legal. If you don't like it, then just don't compete in the fucking game. Simple. And that just solves all problems.
well, Tom, let me ask no doubt this question. So obviously Legacy is going to come out. I don't honestly, the past doesn't matter. What happened in the past, who's salty is completely irrelevant. The question that needs to be answered is, to what extent does Legacy satisfy you as an accomplished Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 player, and to what extent do you think the game can be successful? Because honestly, those are the only two questions that matter. If 50-year-old men that's salty making alternative accounts, that's on them. My question is, can we go to scene, and what can we do to make sure that people's level, like people's hard work is respected? Honestly, those are the only two questions that matter to me.
You're going to have a hard time convincing Jimmy 55, who just picked up the game, and not even fighting Cabal or someone like that, gets Rio literally played a guy online who was glitch jabbing a little bit and froze it with Sub-Zero. And Rio had like 10%. The guy had 100%. Ran him in the corner.
That's a modern audience. Those people don't matter. I don't care about 50-year-olds. I care about the 20-year-olds, the 25-year-olds.
That's what I mean. The modern
When
audience.
you're ready,
The
I'll
modern
answer the
audience.
question.
The modern audience. Yeah, the modern audience.
Jimmy
If
is
you-
not modern.
No, I said Jimmy 55. I meant some random Jimmy Bag of Donuts, right?
Fair enough.
Some random guy. I was watching Rio. He was doing Fightcade, and he's picking Sub-Zero. And the guy, Rio's
Tom,
like,
before
you know
you get
what?
into this, the reason I stopped playing Fightcade 5 years ago when they released the 2D MKs on Fightcade when I checked it out is because I played rank when I was playing with Detroit then for a couple days. I'm like, this is so dumb. This is the worst ranked I've ever seen. You play people on rank, they do this on you can't win. So what is the point of playing a Fightcade? You can't grind, you can't level up, and it's annoying to get matches. You have to sit there, challenge 10, 20 people, hope one of them responds to you, and then when they respond to you, you gotta hope they don't glitch you out and reset the game and do all this stuff.
And you have to quit and take the loss. Yeah, but the problem is, even people then, I'm watching Rio, he freezes the guy, block infinites him in the corner. The guy then goes to the diagnostic screen and is going to stay there to be an asshole, so Rio has to quit out. And these are people who know they're in the game. Some new player, this happens to him, and he gets block infinited in the corner. It's going to be very difficult to try to say, no, it's the jabbing, it's a high-level tactic, and even though the glitch jab is happening to him, he's just going to say, dude, this is stupid. It's you can rationalize it any way you want to a modern player. This is stupid. I'm just telling you right now, to a modern player, this is stupid.
Can I tell you what's a big culprit on what's really stupid? Who came up with the name glitch jabs? Because that has to be the stupidest term to call any tactic in a game.
That's how I heard it.
Out of all the terms, it is relevant. It is relevant. Out of all the terms that could have been chosen for this tactic, people came up with glitch jabs. You know how bad this makes it sound 100 times worse than it could have if you just called it block jabbing. This is why I don't understand. Like, glitch jabs has to be one of the worst things. That name alone is doing more damage than it
implies
should.
That it's a cheat.
It's a negative term. It should not be called glitch jabs. That makes it sound 100 times worse than it is. And that's when people hear that, they're like, what is that? And people say it's glitch jabs. They're like, what glitch? Are you breaking the game? It's just so, they should have been calling it block jabs. That would have made it go over so much easier. And then people understand, oh, block jabbing. So you jab and block instead of glitch jabs. Then you got to pause the set and explain people what a glitch jab is and tell them how it works and it's blocking. I think that term has done so much damage to the game. Whoever came up with this term glitch jabs did a lot of damage to UMK3. It is not a good term.
Skill jabs. You can propagandize anything in life.
But it's like, imagine in Melee when people are wave dashing, it wasn't called wave dash, it was called glitch dash. People would be like, what?
I mean, but
the name matters sometimes. It matters. When a name has a negative
fair enough.
term like that.
If you get people to play the game and they actually play the game, they realize what it actually is. They're like, no, I'm good. By the way,
right, and I really dislike how the main term for it is glitch jabs. I hate that term.
By the way, Super uploaded some videos on his channel, and the game view-wise usually does very, very well because it's fast-paced. But you know what the number one complaint about the game is, and I don't think we don't even have to go. We don't even have to address it.
Yeah.
Because why are they just standing and jabbing for like 5 seconds? I mean, it's so obvious. Again, you can call it whatever you want. Like, you can call it
right, but I think for Legacy Collection, we should all come together and not call it glitch jabs and call it block jabbing. Because this term,
I'll call it whatever you want me to call it. But
when I was playing back on Xbox Live and when I was learning about this stuff, it was so hard. Like Aaron's right. Like back then, we were trying to learn the game. There were no tutorials and stuff. It was very hard to get info on the game. And I remember hearing this term glitch jabs. I remember playing against people. I'm like, what is that? And I came across other very good players. I remember back then I was playing with Shaney McGrady, Juggernaut, DC Hustle. There were a lot of good players. And I would tell them, I'd ask them like, hey guys, you're good at the game. Can you tell me what glitch jabs are? Because, it's the stupidest name ever created and doesn't even explain what the hell it is. And they were like, their immediate response was, oh, don't do that shit. That shit's whack. If you do that, I'm not going to play it. I'm like, damn, okay, well, what is it? So back then, it was already so negative. People didn't like it. And then on top of that, you have this dumb term called the glitch jabs that makes it 10 times worse. And it starts spreading around. it should have never been called glitch jabs.
Dude, the whole
Yeah.
I don't want to
its
hear when
own
Legacy Collection comes
community,
out. People
Rio,
are
is
commenting
hating
it.
in its own
But
game.
how dumb is it going to be if Legacy Collection ends up being at tournaments when it comes out, and then you hear commentaries every 2 seconds, glitch jabbing, nice glitch jab, always glitch jab.
But it
It's
doesn't
just
matter
sounds
what you
so
call it, Rio.
stupid.
It doesn't matter, and here's why. And I want no doubt and Rio to weigh in on this, and Dave can give his thoughts here. The thing is, if this truly, and this is just me being devil's advocate. This is not necessarily my opinion. I'm just being devil's advocate. Let's say I'm somebody and I hear all this. If it is true, call them whatever you want. Glitch jabs, call them.
Just call it block jabs. 'Cause that's literally what
Whatever.
it is.
Okay.
Block jabs.
Okay, if you want to say block jabs, whatever you want to call, however you want to call it.
Block jabs.
If
block
it is
jabbing.
something, if it is something that just enhances this game, that takes it from what it was to this really, really fucking high level game, then why isn't the community's response initially wasn't, wow, this is some high level shit, dog. It was, this is bullshit. Don't do it. I'm not playing you with it. Countless videos by other players showing the corner stuff going, should this be legal? What to do? The response it seems like Ariane is saying eventually everyone just started doing it and it became accepted. That's far different than saying, dog, this is some shit, dog. This is some high level shit that really transforms the game. Saying we accepted it because we have to is not the same as saying it's this, Omega thing. And even Rio, and I want Rio to defend this as well. And Dave, you were on these podcasts when he talks about the N64 version. The main reason he brings up is because the block jabbing is different than in arcade. And there's a more deeper meta to it than just what it is, which is just better because it's just dumb to just the way it is right now. And even the number one concern Rio has voiced to he's hoping for in WaveNet is a change to the block jabbing. And if it is this Omega high-level tactic, these things would never be expressed. And if it is an Omega high-level tactic, for years people wouldn't have said, oh, don't do that shit, we don't want to play it. Shock wouldn't have tried to hide it from people. The current players who now accept it would have never at one time been saying to Rio, don't do that shit, I'm not going to play you. And Ariane wouldn't be saying, I mean, it is whatever, we accept it, everybody does it now, it's not something that's new, we all know how to deal with it. Saying we accept it is not the same as, woo, this is some high-level shit, dog. Or am I wrong on this? And this is just me playing at devil's advocate because I know someone else will think it.
Let no doubt
I
speak.
disagree.
Yeah,
but,
go ahead, please. Yeah, go ahead.
When something's new, we're any kind of change or anything brand new that you got to deal with is always going to be uncomfortable. So when there's a new problem, and this is just the way life works, something's going to come at you, and then at first it's frustration, and I hate this, and where's this headed, and why is this happening, and it's just like, oh, new music's coming. What's going on with the world? What's going on with this music? What happened to real good musicians? What happened to this? What happened to that? And then 30 years later, everyone's like, oh, we missed that classic. We missed that kind of stuff. This is why glitch jabs at first, it started off like, oh, bullshit. It was so new, so stupid to deal with, so difficult to deal with, and just a nuisance. And then it evolved into, like I said, the norm. People don't blatantly say out loud, yeah, this is like, this has this has taken the game to a high level. No one really discusses, UMK. So it's not really talked about in a community sense. It's like just a couple people, but people on Fightcade, they know, that the game is at a really high level, and, they know that the matches are really, dynamic. It takes people who have started at the bottom and now, years later, some players I know, I'm not going to name drop, but it took them like 8 to 10 to 12 years to finally be able to even hang with top players. There's players I'd beat up for like 10 years straight. Finally they could hang, and it took them that long to finally realize how to play and deal with the jabs and deal with all the fundamentals and everything, and they grew to appreciate what it really takes and how deep it is. And would it take that long if there was a little bit more guides out there, a little bit more, a little bit more help, of course. But like we all know, like the game is has a small community. It's not really popular. There's not going to be a whole lot of resources. But with Fightcade, there's more high-level players now than ever online, at least, because Fightcade has resources that we've never had, which allows you to watch every single match, watch your friends play in real time, see somebody who destroyed you. They fight somebody better, and then now you watch that player how they deal with that player, and then people are learning in real time. There's a player named Samurai Jax. on Fightcade. He's only been playing for 2 years. He's 19 years old. You know what? He can hang with Detroit Ball, and he can hang with me. He can hang with all these OGs. And I'm like, how the fuck did you get good so fast? I'm like, oh yeah, because you started on Fightcade. And every single match is recorded. You can go watch your own match to see your own mistakes, and then you can go watch in the lobby in real time every single night how people deal with these tactics. And it's a new wave of resources and fundamental learning that we never had back then. So it's just new times and adjustment, and people have learned to not only accept it but also embrace it.
Before
Let me,
we always end,
Tom, hold
let
on,
me
Tom,
just
if I
okay.
may, just 1 second. Why isn't the game more popular in your humble opinion? Like, because this is supposed to be the
Mm-hmm.
third strike. This is
Yeah,
supposed to.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm exaggerating, but you
Well,
tell
hold
me.
on.
Well, number one,
This is a
okay.
me thing because Ariane wasn't around when the arcade era died. The guy, I can tell you right now, it's not. It's nothing to do with the game. It's not more popular because for for the longest time, if you didn't walk around with an arcade machine strapped to your back, you just had no way. There was no easy access. The console ports were garbage.
Mm-hmm.
The first even similar console point was, I think, Arcade Collection. What year did that come out?
2012.
So you're looking at when the FGC is being built. MK4 came out in 97, and it was done by 99. You're looking at 2000, 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, and you just have no way. People, people didn't have PC gaming for fighting games wasn't like it was today. So it wasn't like, oh, get Kylara. And Kylara, for all its whatever, half the time, it was shit. So there was just no good, easy, accessible way until Fightcade. And even still, it's something, it's people today just want to plug the game in and play
Mm-hmm.
it. They don't want to download something, install this, install that. And that's the main reason why it's not bigger. It's really not because anything we're talking about today, in my opinion. Maybe I just being someone around, I used to always say, well, things that I used to always tell this to Shock. It sucks with MK because you can't get anybody into it unless you walk around with an arcade machine on a truck. For the longest time. That has always been classic Mortal Kombat's dilemma. And I wasn't trying to cut you off, Ariane. Just as someone who predates a lot of the modern crowd, that was the number one problem, and I think it always has been.
I agree. I mean, that's one of the major, maybe the most major problem is the accessibility and practicality of accessing the game on a good, on an easy kind of way to play. But also, I think it's obvious that the game is unique and plays vastly different than most or a lot of other fighters that people in Street Fighter and Marvel are used to playing a certain way. UMK is very, very different and mechanically different, and of course, on a high level, very different, and also very fast. So it's just so different. It's a very acquired taste that I think most people are, not as comfortable with. Where like they're more well-rounded in other fighters, and like to get to UMK3, I'm like, what the hell, like. You gotta. It's like the run button is like a gas pedal that you gotta know how to control, and there's a block button. It's very tapping based, and it's just very different. So I think the taste being acquired taste, and also it is popular in just certain parts of the world. More like South America, and Russia's humongous right now. Like I was on a Snowboy stream once, and there was like 300 people watching, and that dude's got like 28,000 followers, and they have a humongous like community in Russia. So there's certain parts of the world where it has a bigger community, but I don't. Yeah, it isn't and never has been as big as like the staples like Street Fighter, Marvel, all those games, Tekken.
Okay, I have two questions for you then. First, I want to go back to what you were saying as far as just very quickly on the jabs, as far as you're like
Yeah.
um when you talk about it's change and people are resistant to change. Very true. But it's not so much change that people resist, it's what changes a lot of times, correct? Would I be accurate in saying the main reason why people were resistant is because almost everyone initially was like, this is fucking stupid that you're attacking and blocking at the same time. Isn't that what the initial problem was?
And also, just a quick same question, Tom. It's like Rio talks about how people um, misdiagnose the name. It's not M2 Dave or Tom Brady. It's its own community who was trashing the game for years.
The
like
fact
saying,
that they came up with the name Glitch Jabs is so bad and damaging.
no, Rio,
to
I
the
understand.
tactic.
I'm not saying it's like it's your fault. I'm just saying like it's not like people smearing or conspiring against the game. It's its own community who
Yeah.
has had massive like bipolar
Well, it is self-smearing
phases for the
because think
game,
about
Well,
it.
man.
because No Doubt said, like he just said,
But no, wait. But
change.
you have to think of when you have like tactics in a game, high level. You got to think of like cool creative names for them that sound awesome, not names that
But that
sound
was their
negative
initial
and
reaction.
bad.
The initial reaction, like he said, it's change. Their initial reaction was very hesitant to the change. So the first thing they're doing is looking
Right,
at it and saying, blocking and attacking.
but you got to ask
Glitch,
yourself why.
hence the glitch jab.
I think you guys are missing a huge thing here that
It-
you guys are
They
leaving out
would
that hasn't
rename
been
it
mentioned yet.
today, but you got to look at the time period. The time period in which it was being done, it was very new to them. People are blocking and attacking. This is a glitch. It's a glitch jab. That's why it was named that. Clearly today they don't look at it
No,
as
I
a
understand, but
quote-unquote
you're
glitch
leaving
jab.
out why did people react like this when it was discovered and used a lot during Xbox Live?
Because
Look,
they're people.
No, but I want to explain. So look, there was a huge key point being missed here that you're leaving out that no one has mentioned yet. The atmosphere that UMK3 was played in, it came out what, like 1995, and then it got in a way brought back to life in 2006. That's like an 11-year gap, right?
Mhm.
So I can't think of any other fighting game that had such a huge meta change in history like that. Like even games like Melee, Marvel, all this high level stuff in that game was done early into the game's life. Like people knew what wave dashing was in Melee in like 2003. People knew the triangle dashing stuff from Marvel way back early in the game. But in UMK3, 1995 all the way to 2006, 11 years of the game being out, nobody was sitting there doing the word glitch jabs repeatedly nonstop like that.
Because
So
because
imagine,
nobody was
but
blocking with it.
right,
That's
but
why.
imagine being in these players' shoes. Now, I'm not saying they're right. I'm not defending them. But I'm saying imagine being in their position. You're someone who loves UMK3. You played it for a decade of your life. You played it from 1995 to like 2004 or whatever, right? It's one of your favorite games. Then all of a sudden, it's 2007 or 8. You decide to go to a tournament, check it out, and you get hit with this, and you're like, what the fuck happened to the game? You can kind of see how they would react in a way. Because no other fighting game has had a huge gap like this where you go to play it and it's like, what? The game is so different now. UMK3 in 2006, completely different game than how it was for the 10 years before that. That this is not being mentioned.
That's why they
just
called
left
it
out.
glitch jab. That's the point, and that's what was resisted to change because you had so the resurgence of UMK3 didn't happen in 2006. It happened in the even earlier 2000s, and then as it began to grow and develop a little more of a following, then this was discovered. And then it caused a lot of conversation in the community because, like No Doubt said, people were like, hey, this is different. It's change. And the first thing, human reaction, we're all humans, is to resist that change. And you had it's even easier to resist change when you have a plausible reason that doesn't make you sound like a scrub. Like, hey, it's dumb because you're blocking and attacking at the same time. Any fighting game player can understand that, and you don't sound stupid when you say block and attack simultaneously. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a glitch. It's whatever. That was so. My point to No Doubt is what I'm asking you first. Two-part question. One, could it not be said that it wasn't so much the change itself, but the reason for the change? The reason is people were able to block and attack at the same time, and most people's human reaction was to say, this is stupid. So I'm just saying, can you understand why that is the reaction to a lot of people who are just hearing about it today for the first time?
Well, yeah, I should have just elaborated that when there's a change that is very dominating, it's extremely frustrating and causes a lot of, resistance. And the reason why people had a difficulty fighting them back then, they didn't have the fundamental dynamics that people have evolved to develop. There's a lot they didn't know combo breaking back then, and frames as well as we know now. They didn't know a lot, so it was very frustrating just to say, all right, well, you're blocking and jabbing at the same time. This is annoying and it's bullshit. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Beating you, I can maybe be like Shaney McGrady would say, like, I mean, I could beat them, but it takes more effort than it should, and it was really frustrating. Like, what the hell? They keep blocking everything, and then they're like, well, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I mean, I can beat them, but it's just stupid. Like, it shouldn't take this difficult. It shouldn't take this long to be beating them, But when the game kept evolving, those glitch jabbers that were let's say they're not that good of a player, but they're good at glitch jabbing, like, um, they started to get beat quicker and quicker because people knew how to deal with it. People started, there's unblockable moves in the game. Like I said, there's all these different fundamental tactics that you could abuse on these glitch jabbers and then kind of turn the tables on them. And then since they're doing something broken, you could do something even more broken. And it just kept evolving and evolving and becoming more and more dynamic. But basically, yeah, it's just like people
But you do
were
understand how a
resistant.
modern player is just as resistant to the change for the same reason that you guys were at first, right? That you're blocking and attacking at the same time. So I just want you to understand where they're coming from when they're like, "What?" Because
Yeah, I totally
that's gonna
understand.
happen to a lot of
Yeah,
people when they come into the game and they hear about this. That's gonna
right,
be their response. So it's very even more important that these people have access to ranked and crossplay so that they can practice on people their skill level and
right, right.
also crossplay. So if they want to get games with someone like you in Detroit, they don't have to hear, "Oh, you're on PS5? Damn, I'm on PC." These things are very important to the life of the game.
I wanted to point out about the legacy. I don't know if you guys are aware, but one of
And let me
the
give Biggs some love too, man. Biggs' name doesn't get brought up enough. Biggs is a god, man. I want to give some love to
Who
Biggs
is
here.
that CKK, by the way? I don't know why people are saying ahead and go good players. That to me is disrespectful because there were quite a few. I don't know. Look, I went back and saw some of the matches. I felt like the player had a handful of good players there. Like it seemed most of them knew how to play the game. I'm not sure this talk of Detroit was the only good player there.
um he was probably the most active player. The rest, there was only one other active player there. Um and that was, so yeah, his competition was a little low, but in his defense, I don't think Drew releases who's going to be at the tournament. So it's not like Detroit sees who's going, says, "Oh, there's a bunch of easy people. I'm going to just
Oh, yeah,
go there and
free
get an
win.
easy
Yeah, he
win."
doesn't know. Yeah.
He doesn't know who's going, and second, he doesn't even because he doesn't know who's going. Someone might show up with the keyboard too, and then maybe he wants to win because maybe he wants to win the way you're supposed to win, which is utilize the best equipment you
Yeah.
have. And but
Let's
what
just
was
put
I
a
saying?
rest of the Detroit keyboard
Yeah.
talk. Detroit plays by the same rules the community has been playing for 20 years. He's just better than almost all of them. That's the real fact.
As far as the legacy, though, I don't know if you guys are aware. There was an article released by a developer when someone had asked about, like, well, what about the high level players? Like, are you going to cater to the high level crowd? Ranking lobbies, da, da, da. And then he said specifically, "I'm sorry, but this legacy collection is more aimed to the casual audience who want nostalgia from their childhood. So that's why they're launching it with no ranking, no lobbies." And they said,
That sounds
"Yeah,
like something
possibly,
convenient to say to make
huh?"
it seem like, oh, that's why there's no rank. That's just convenient to say. I don't think that they're really catering to.
Let me ask. I think whoever the guy is, I have to behave myself. But anyway, I want to ask you two questions. One, I know they're completely different questions, but I think they're relevant to me. Is how good is zoning in Ultimate? And I also want to know how you feel about. Oh, Tom, I have to ask, bro. Come on, zoning in Ultimate, and I also want to know how you feel about the real game that I actually want to play, which is the N64 version of Trilogy. Can you address those two questions, please?
I want to
What
answer
you're
these
asking me?
questions after Aaron goes, by the way.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, how do I feel about zoning first in UMK?
Yes.
It's pretty well, I think. In the beginning, when glitch jabs were launched, it's like, oh, how do you zone when everything's blocked and stuff? You can't really throw nothing out. But the game has evolved with instant air fireballs, which is insane. Cabal can do super low ones, super. You could kind of mix up the ranges. Then you have Katana's instant air fan, and then it does give
But
you
that has a cooldown, right? That has a longer cooldown, whereas Cabal's don't. Is that correct?
correct. Yeah, Katanas you can't be throwing out like one after the
Yeah.
other. The spamming of the instant air fireballs allows you to also, chip out, dish out a lot of chip. So if someone is glitch jabbing, again, there you go. There's another tactic. You could just chip them out, keep chipping, and then they gotta the goal of defeating a glitch jabber is to first of all make them move, and when they move, then there's openings because every time you run, you're vulnerable. You cannot run and block at the same time. So, anyways, I think the zoning is really good, especially, and then you have ground pound, you have unblockables, you have the bombs. Like there's a lot
What
of,
about
yeah.
Reptile?
Oh God, like yeah, he's really one ball you get hit on Fightcade like Ali, you're dead. That's it. You're either dead or your health is down by 80%,
You
no
hear
matter
that,
who you
guys?
are.
You're finally
So
fighting Guile with the death combo. I mean, I love it. Maybe that's the reason I would play the game, but uh, no, I think that's one thing. Honestly, I was super wrong about the game, and I was talking out of my ass when I didn't understand it. But like the more I hear about Cabal, to a lesser extent Kitana, I'm liking the way Reptile sounds. That really makes me interested in the game. So, guys, if you're a zoning player, good news. You heard it from the expert himself. But can you also quickly comment? I don't want to take up all your time on this, but can you comment on the N64 trilogy version and from what I've gathered and seen some Brazilian, I think maybe some Mexican matches, why isn't that version the golden standard, and why are they not even releasing that version?
you mean on why they're not releasing it on Legacy?
Yeah,
Well, we all asking the same question, but apparently they're releasing PS1, but they're upgrading the PS1. I don't know if it was just an easier emulation or what, but um, they're smoothing it out. I know PS1 had loading problems, which was stupid. People do prefer N64 when in tournament play. It's really Dominican Republic that that it's super popular, and I think Dominican Republic primarily plays Trilogy way more than UMK. There's really not many UMK players there. Although Hawaiian Nightwolf right now is like I think the most active UMK player, besides Crazy Dominican, who still once in a while hops on. But overall I like the N64 Trilogy version the most. Like most people, I think it's fun. I played 2 tournaments of N64 Trilogy. I won them both by luck, I think, because I don't even use the N64 pad, and we had to use that at CKK.
yeah. Would you play that over Ultimate if you could, or you wouldn't?
No, no.
Okay, interesting. Ree, did you want to chime in as well? I'm sorry.
Yeah, regarding your question, zoning is extremely good in UMK3. You're going to see in the video I'm releasing tonight because I have most of it done. I just finished processing it. But literally, Cabal, you can never jab him. He will always ensnare Fireball you in the face. Reptile, who machine guns fireballs. You have Melina's ensnare size you can't jab against. We have Katana, who if you sit there, that's literally the only way to lose to Katana is sit there and jab like an idiot. Because she'll take her turn and then jab you to death. The best way to play against Katana is you don't want to jab. You want to sit there, play more of a mobile game, duck, avoid the fan. If you sit there jabbing like that, Katana's going to eat you alive. So yeah, zoning is extremely good in UMK3.
Can you well, either one of you, it's fine. We all know like how modern fighting games, and I think Tom would make the case as well, like how defensive and zoning and turtling characters like have taken a massive hit, right, for the sake of spectatorship. Um, no doubt. Can you like give people who are listening like maybe three like zoning characters they can maybe look into or learn when Legacy comes out for Ultimate?
3 what?
Three zoning characters or defensive type characters.
3 that I recommend new players learning.
Yeah,
Um, that's that's a little tricky. There's so many like
just
because
say
it just it
reptile. Would you say
no,
reptile?
I wouldn't recommend. No,
No.
I wouldn't recommend a reptile first because if you want his zoning game is really based on his volleying. I think combo juggling ability.
Okay.
If you want to be good with reptile, you got to know how to at least get a decent amount of juggle damage, and that takes a lot of practice and timing practice. So juggling in UMK is not easy on a high level. But I would say Jax. He has a lot. You want someone who's easy, but also has a lot of zoning options. Like Jax, he's got double missile and single missile and ground pound. So that's 3 zoning options. You could practice using 3 tactics from a distance. Then you have Jade, who I think is also well in the zoning sense. I don't think actually she's not that easy to use, but zoning wise, she's got like 3 different boomerang options. And then Cabal really, I mean, if you're good with instant air, fireball, mechanics, execution, he's quite simple to use, easy to use, very powerful to use, pretty straightforward as a learning tool. You want someone that's easy to use and fundamentally simple enough for you to learn the fundamentals. It's always getting the fundamentals down, in my opinion, first, and then from there everything kind of grows. Whereas I personally, I don't like people who start with a gimmick or a big combo first and just rely on that one thing and then go down to fundamentals because there are a lot of players, they rely on like one thing and then they can't fundamentally really beat other high level players or better players. So but yeah, Jax, Jade maybe, and
While you said.
Maybe, well, yeah, if you're good with instant air fireball execution. Otherwise, yeah, I'm trying to think who else has. I don't want to say Liu Kang, yeah, because Liu Kang has options, but the dude's damage is so low. Like I don't know whoever made the game crack when they did his damage, because I mean his flying kick does like -1% or some shit. Like I don't know what's wrong with the dude. He just doesn't do enough damage. He should be doing more.
Rio, same question to you.
Well, the easiest zoners, in my opinion, I'm talking about just zoning, not learning everything about them. But you have for the easiest top 3 zoners, Jax, Reptile, and Melina. And here's why.
Molina,
Reptile,
yeah.
yeah, Reptile is super easy to do force balls. Now, yes, you have to learn his combos and stuff. But if you want to just sit there and throw fireballs, then Reptile's perfect for that. Jax, you have his double shot, you have ground pound, and you could spam sweep to keep people out in footsies too. So he's really good for that. And then Melina, who has the easiest instant to do, you just hold high punch for 2 seconds, release it, and you can hit people block jabbing. And her sides are very good. They chip you, they're plus on block, they allow her to control neutral. So I'd say those 3. If Cabal is the best zoner, but he's super hard to play. You're going to have to be practicing trade mode for a long time. Katana, while not as hard to do as Cabal, she also requires a lot of effort to play. And there's some other situational zoners like I'd say Jade is more like chip based, not really like a zoner, but she's also really hard to play because you got to learn how to do glow punishes on sweeps and things, which is like advanced stuff. And then you have, I mean, if you want to, aside from projectile zoning, you could play lame runaway characters that just walk back and play defense that you don't really see in some of the newer games. Like, you could play Scorpion, Armpick, and Human Smoke. They have the dumbest runaway in defense that you're probably ever going to see. You're going to see, Dave, when you play against one. Like, when you have to go to them and chase them, it's very annoying how much they can run away. And they're, like, impossible to corner, too. So you have a lot of options.
When I was first starting the game, like a lot of new players would always pick up Robot Smoke as a little learning tool, and I think he's pretty good. I mean, to learn, basic fundamentals, he's pretty easy to use. He's got some cheap, easy combos that you could get off of, and yeah, just learning how to, learn fundamentals easy. Katana, like yeah, her defense is so poor. It takes a little advancement to develop a good defensive strategy and know the ins and outs of the instant air fan art, I guess. But
Yeah, with
but
Katana...
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. I think, I'm sorry to interrupt. I think this is really, maybe we can wrap it up around this if you guys are okay with it. But so no doubt you were competing for a long time. You got the results. What are your hopes, your expectations, your standards for the legacy coming out, and to what extent might that, cause you to compete again? Light the bulb again, and make you be excited about one of your favorite Mortal Kombat games of all time?
that's a good question. I first of all, I hopped on Fightcade a year ago or so because I was just curious. At first, I had downloaded it and I hated it so much, and I still hate it. It's horrifying. It's the worst port I've ever played on. But on the flip
Can
side,
you briefly discuss why? Why is it just the
yeah.
online? Is it the yeah?
Oh, there's like 20, 30 different aspects of why the game runs so inconsistently. Number one, it runs at the wrong frame rate. The whoever set the FPS, they did it wrong. It runs at a fluctuating 55, 50, 54, 55, I think, and even offline it flutters. So it's actually the wrong frame rate and it's not even consistent. So you have frames going all over the place at all times. So the game isn't even, and the hitboxes are off. It's running and it's run off of an old FB Neo port, the oldest core port you could possibly run, the crappiest one. Usually in an online world, you're worried about delay and ping, but guess what? There's way more things now going on. You got run ahead, 1 and 2. You've got delay settings from 0 all the way to like 6 or 7. There's all these different perimeters that people can actually change on the fly while you're playing a match so they could have an advantage over you, and it caused the game to screw up. So there's a lot of, although the game has evolved, there's plenty of, fraudulent activity and cheating going on, and it's just,
Speaking of
it's a mess
active
on there.
cheating,
Yeah. You might be asking now, well, why the hell are you on there? Well, on the flip side, I think it's been so fun to go on and meet all my old friends, make new friends, watch my favorite players play, watch people who I've never met before play. Even through all the crap and the bullshit, you still learn things, new things from newer players or older players. And you get to meet people that you've never met before. And learn about like, okay, well, this guy's top in Brazil. Like, let me watch some of him, and you can kind of get a grip and play people in a way, even if it's not the best way. You still get to meet people and still learn new things. And I think that's been really cool to get familiar with like the community in South America. I know them, and now I know people in Russia, and I know people in Azerbaijan, and I know it's been real cool to like just connect with a wider base of people. And what I hope is Legacy. I don't think it's going to do this, but let's hope I'm wrong. It takes what's on Fightcade, and it just takes that connection and adds a way better way of playing online. That's more consistent. That's more true to the game, and allows a better connection. And I think that would be very inspirational to maybe jump back competitively again. So
Well, let me say this, and I'll shut up. I think people already kind of know how I feel about the older games. I don't want to rehash my dumbass old talking points, but for Street Fighter, they have their Third Strike. For Tekken, they have the Tekken Tag 1. To a lesser extent now, Tekken 7, obviously, which is more modern. But I think the NRS community, or the Midway community, whatever you want to call it, has always lacked that one game we kind of go back to and play. And look, I used to be wrong about a lot of stuff in my fighting game career, but I'm 100% supportive of whatever this legacy is. And if people, I'm talking by people, I think what I mean is like we're gonna need the Colosseums of the world, the demon lobbies. You're gonna need these modern players to, not the modern players, but like the modern content creators, the modern organizers. These online tournaments, like a Mr. Aquaman or Rips. They're gonna need to promote the stuff, and if they have it on their channel, we don't have to be big offline. That's the biggest misconception of all time. We can still have these online tournaments, and and if you have somebody like, if you're gonna have like these online tournaments, you could have somebody like you, Rio, Shah compete, and I think that's gonna bring value. That's gonna bring attention to these tournaments, and you can build a scene. People will watch, people will play, and I think that will be the right start. Before you even get to a an offline, is the game gonna be an Evo talk?
Yeah,
Leo,
can we
do you want
also
to-
can we stop saying some people are killing the game? Because I don't know, I was reading some of the comments on the video I made regarding glitch ads. People were like, "Why did Rio make this video?" Now he's telling people how to do it. How dare him? Like people should know how to do this or know about it. Because apparently I'm killing Legacy Collection. This doesn't make any sense. You would think you would
Better
want
hear about it now
everybody.
than for the
That,
first
this
time
is
in
what
the
I'm
game.
saying. Would you rather the Legacy Collection come out and the week of, when all the spotlight is on the game, that everybody's figuring out what this is and that's blowing up? Or would you rather all the people that pre-ordered it, that are going to play it, figure out how the game plays now so that they have time to get used to it and learn and understand? This is one of the
You
weird...
want to weigh in
Yeah.
on the N64 version that Dave asked a question about? You said you wanted to answer it.
What was Dave's question?
About the N64 version, how you feel about it not being included, why is it different, why would it be more preferred, like in South America they like it over UMK3, etc.
Oh yes, so regarding N64 version of Trilogy, they're including the PS1 version. The problem is the PS1 version plays literally like UMK3, just a little bit faster, and it's got some wacky changes on characters and a lot of the worst balance with the boss characters playable, and then you have some of the MK2 characters that have literally no damage scaling. So that version is a bit of a mess if you want to play it seriously. But what makes the N64 version cool is it has a lot of characters that are very good. Like, for example, UMK3 has Classic Sub and U Sub, which are both pretty bad. But in Trilogy N64, they combined it together. So now instead of there being two bad characters in the game, now you have one very good S tier character that's playable. Other characters that are worse, like Shang is buffed, Sarix is buffed, Shiva's better, Kung Lao isn't a joke anymore like he's in UMK3. He's actually top tier in Trilogy. Jax is top tier in Trilogy. He's around mid tier in UMK3. So Trilogy, in my opinion, it's kind of like UMK3, but with a lot of additions to the balance, it makes a lot of characters better. There's a lot less characters that can't do much. There are a few of them that are bad, like Johnny's not that good in N64 Trilogy. But I'd rather have that where only Johnny, like maybe one or two others aren't that good, where compared to UMK3, where like literally Sector is terrible. Characters like, who did I mention? Shiva cannot really do much. She gets block jabbed infinite like crazy. She tries to block jab anybody, they're doing instant air jump punches on her, like the character can't move. And a cool thing is, instead of what Trilogy does, is instead of them nerfing glitch jabs, you could still do glitch jabs. They're the same in that game. They buff the hell out of everything else in the game. So instead of having these like crappy low kicks or crouching kicks that are minus, for those of you that don't know, crouching low kicks are minus on hit in UMK3. So when you hit somebody with them, you have to block. They're gonna hit you in the face, but they're plus on block. So it's like weird. In Trilogy, it's actually consistent. The pokes are plus on hit and block. So it adds a new dynamic on how you would play, and it enhances the neutral and footsie game like crazy. And there's a lot of fun stuff you can do in Trilogy. It also has the 3-on-3 combat, which is
You mean
super
the N64
fun.
version you're speaking of, right?
Yeah, the N64 version. It has the 3-on-3 combat, which complements the game perfectly. The game's sped up. It just, everything matches. And it's also explosive combat by default. In 2v2, if you play UMK3, you'll see that a lot of times people will do these cheap tactics where your character will tag in and then you have to either hold pressure or they'll do like a throw up before you come in. Yeah, that's one of the most annoying things. There was one person I was playing that was playing smoke and ending combo in spear. My character would come in, I would get pulled toward them and get a combo launch. I'm like, this is so dumb. So it almost makes me not want to play 2v2. I'm glad 1v1's the standard for UMK3 because some of the 2v2 stuff is but all that stuff is fixed in Trilogy. That's why it's sad that we're not going to get that for Legacy Collection. But there was a rumor. Wait, hold on real quick. There was a rumor.
Okay.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say like, I think not that I'm the voice, but I think I'm kind of the voice of the wider audience because I don't play these games. I'm just kind of like judging more what I'm seeing, and based on all the videos that you sent me over like the past year, I have watched most of them. Dude, Trilogy just at the N60 just feels like you know what? I can actually see myself playing this game. There's a good balance between glitch apps, special moves, projectiles, like the overall, just the overall experience. Like at least again from a spectator point, like which is by the way how most people, they see something and they want to play it, right? Obviously, so I'm like, yeah, I can see myself playing this, right? It seems more fun than Ultimate. There's a better balance, not between necessarily the characters, right? I don't know anything about that, but I'm like talking about just the way the game looks, right? You have some glitch jabs, fair enough, but you have some special moves. It just seems a more appealing game, at least visually to me. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention Scorpion is insanely good in Trilogy. He's not that great in UMK3. But one annoying thing about Trilogy that sucks is that controllers are horrendous. So unfortunately, when you do play N64 Trilogy, you have to use the terrible N64 controls, which are annoying, and I can't stand them. But what would have been cool is if they add this to Legacy Collection, you'll be able to use any controller you want, and you could do your button configure. So that will solve that problem. That's not good for the game. But the rumor I was saying is apparently, from what I was told, is that they're working on trying to get like a crossplay into the game, not on launch, but like in the beginning when the game's out, like as one of the patches to it. And they may try to include N64 Trilogy. So we're going to see if that happens. If that happens, I think that's huge because it's.
But the sales depend on this because if the game is selling poorly, I just don't think it's it's got to start selling well off the bat.
But you got to think about it. Back in 2006, when they sold millions on Xbox Live, I'm sure now they can do a lot better than 20 years ago.
Well, we would certainly hope so for sure. I want to talk about one thing that No Doubt said. This is a common misconception that I hear even today with modern Mortal Kombat players, and maybe I'm just too old, or I'm like the Dracula of Mortal Kombat or whatever, because even the oldest ones weren't around through all of them. The oldest ones played the arcade ones, but not the 3Ds, not the new ones. I did them all. So I'm just this notion that we heard No Doubt say like, at UMK3, it's different. It's not like other fighting games like Street Fighter. We actually hear this even today when people say, well, it's different. It's not like Street Fighter. It's not like whatever. It is so ridiculous to me when I hear this mentioned as a weak point of Mortal Kombat, when the fact is that's Mortal Kombat's strongest point. Mortal Kombat was, what game was bigger than Mortal Kombat in the arcade? It wasn't Street Fighter. No game was bigger than Mortal Kombat in the arcade. So were there not Street Fighter players there? Of course there were. MK was so big because it wasn't Street Fighter. So the era of, people even say, the casuals, they love the gore. The casuals don't give a fuck about the gore. These guys are blowing your brains out in 4K in Call of Duty. They don't give a fuck about these fatalities. The truth of the matter is the gore factor wore off after MK1 and MK2. When they started giving you 30 rib cages on the screen, I promise you the fatalities, nobody cared anymore. what made MK what it is it is so different from Street Fighter. So many games in the arcade era tried to copy the Street Fighter model. They used the Street Fighter combo system. You had like your Shoto characters, usually one or two of them. Ken and Ryu for the longest time in Street Fighter were identical pretty much. Scorpion and Sub-Zero, not even close. They were palette swaps, not even close. Katana Melina, not even close. So they didn't do things like Street Fighter. They didn't use the same combo system. Not only Street Fighter used that same combo system, pretty much every single other fighting game used the same combo system as Street Fighter. And then there was Mortal Kombat. MK3 was the first time Mortal Kombat became known for its gameplay rather than its gore. It was not as gory, I would say, as MK2, where they were trying to be like real, rip the arms, rip the head. You have 30 rib cages, 10 head. It was almost comedic how they did the fatalities in a lot of ways. It was the actual gameplay of the game. It's MK3 and then later UMK3. I remember it. MK3 came out on my birthday. I'll never forget it. April 15th, 95. The irony is myself and the Ice Clone share the same birthday. And I remember in November when UMK3 came out, November of 95. I will never forget those days. And this is when Mortal Kombat became more of a game you're playing locally to an actual tournament game where it was known for its gameplay, not the gore and the fatalities and things like that. So it was certainly very popular in the arcade era. So the fact that it's not like Street Fighter now really has nothing to do like whatever, because even when it was not like Street Fighter then, it was beating the bejesus out of Street Fighter. In fact, when people don't realize this, when Super Street Fighter 2 came out, it was terrible and it was not received well. And in fact, they looked at how big American arcades were and what's being played there. Faster games, bigger combos, things like that. So Street Fighter changed and it became Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which was a very beloved game by Street Fighter, but by Capcom players. But Mortal Kombat had no problems going up against Street Fighter. And it's because of how different it really was. There's so many games tried to copy Street Fighter, and they had no shot. But Mortal Kombat was the only game big enough to challenge it. And even now, more people still buy it than Street Fighter. So Mortal Kombat being so different is its strength, not its weakness. And I think most people don't realize that. Just wanted to weigh in on that. Like, it's not because it's different that, people don't get into it because it's different. That's really not why. That's actually its strongest point.
That's
No,
well
Daniel,
said.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, whoever wants to comment on that. Go
Well,
ahead,
I think
please.
the casual crowd for Mortal Kombat is absolutely huge and will never, it'll always be huge. I was talking about just the high level crowd who want to compete in tournaments for money. I feel like the mechanics of Mortal Kombat as a fighting game is just so different. And the game being it is what it is, by design, it's not necessarily the most balanced, and like what David said, not necessarily designed in mind to be professionally competitive to go to Evo either. Makes it not only unique but also difficult to gain the high level competitive scene that Street Fighter and Marvel always had. That's just my opinion. It's very it's got its niche crowds in different parts of the world, but in the United States, it's just never had. Even in the XBL days, like the competitive scene was also it was bigger but low because when Shock had those tournaments and stuff, like how many players were there? Like 10, maybe 8, maybe 12, like I don't know, 15. It just was always very small. So, but yeah, that was just my
For the
opinion.
game to succeed, whenever you have sides, the casual side and the competitive side, it's never going to work when they're at war with each other. Like it doesn't work. So I tried to represent both sides well here, the OGs and the newer players, and just everybody needs to understand where everybody's coming from. for the OG players to try to kind of tear this down, as in it's bullshit, it's this, it's that. Look, even Arian's like, it is what it is. He doesn't run from what it is, but it's in the game. It is high level to do, and it's going to be used, and it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So, like you said, you have to accept and adjust and adapt to the change, and embrace it, and just play the game at high level for what it is. So, if you're on the OG/casual side, which they're one and the same at this point, you have to understand that doing this and it's bullshit, it's cheap, it's cheating. Again, Arian doesn't stray from that. No, that doesn't stray from that. It's not cheating, but he's just saying, look, yeah, is it balanced? No. Is it this? No. But it's changed, and we understood how to deal with it. We embraced it, and then we understood it, and we learned how to deal with it. Okay. So
one thing that wasn't. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. No, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that when I got into this game, first of all, I never thought I'd even be good at it, and never planned to even be a high level or be a one of the best at all. I just really got in for fun, and I was like, you know what, maybe it'd be cool to win one tournament, and if I do, that'd be awesome, and then I'll be complete. And that happened in 2011. Rio was there, and that was like cool. It was a really good night, and that's all I really needed. And what do you call it? What no one noticed, I think, from looking back now, the one thing that I wish people, I guess, realize is, coming from all these frustrations with like being broken and stuff, like me and Rio understands, like everyone would complain, like everyone spams Cabal and Human Smoke, and that's kind of all you know what I mean? If you want to win tournaments back then, it's just like you better pick Cabal or Human Smoke, and if you're not picking
Cabal,
one of those characters,
it was more Cabal. I mean,
one or the other. You could win with Human Smoke. It's two openings, Now, if you don't pick one of those characters, listen, you're not going to win, and that's it.
Nope.
Well, you want to know something? I won all those 10 tournaments without using any of those characters, and I won all those tournaments without using most of them without using even top 5.
I was at a lot of those tournaments you were doing well at.
And the thing is, like, I wish I would have been at least appreciated or recognized, like, this dude, like, at least proved you could win a broken ass game with characters that you like to use, not who everyone, kind of told you that this is the only way to win. I kind of made my own way. And on Fightcade, getting an A rank on there is not really easy. I mean, it's a huge gap from going from B to A. I don't know if you know about the tier listing on Fightcade, but the ranking system, it's extremely difficult, especially with all the cheaters, right? To go from B to an A. It's like a humongous gap. And when I went on there, I'm like, honestly, till this day, I don't really think I'm that great on there. Like, I'm kind of trashy the way that it takes my inputs, and I'm not really that precise on there. But I said, all right, well, nothing's really working on this port. My characters aren't even working. My jabs don't even come out on time. So I said, fuck it. I'm just going to use Shiva. And that's it. She's got no instant air fireballs for me to screw up. Her combos are pretty, straightforward. And I just rolled with her, and I got A, like, for a while. So, and I'm on a busted pad, an old one, PS2, and I don't have a keyboard or a hitbox, and I don't have a gaming PC either. So if I could do all that with the worst character in the game, well, guess what? You could, anything's pretty much possible. You could really get far, no matter how broken something seems, there's always a way.
I mean, but both sides have got to come at the end of the day. Does one side or the other being quote unquote right? Is it worth not having the game grow and be as good as it is? I think everyone would agree no. So if you're that OG side, I get it. You hate it. It's cheating. I'm not just saying not what Summoning is talking about, because he's talking about it in a different sense, but there are some who literally believe this. Mm-hmm. Look, you had Arian today literally say everything you wanted. He admitted, is it the most balanced? Is it this? Is that? No, is the keyboard this? They don't stray from it. So it's not like they're like hiding whatever, but just understand it's in the game. It's going to be used. You have no choice but to accept it. There's no way around it. So to try to dissuade people from playing, like Summoning doesn't do that. He just says, in my opinion, this is what it is. It's, whatever. He wants the game to grow. He wants to have fun with the game. He wants people to have fun. But there are a lot of OGs that are like, no, no, it's this, it's that. You got to understand, man. You at this point, this is the first time UMK3 actually has a shot to be in the mainstream audience. and this is the only chance it's going to get. If you guys screw this up, it ain't coming back. I mean, it is what this is a one-shot thing. So everybody's got to be on the same page. And for a lot of you guys, like, just try to be under the high-level crowd. Just try to understand where they're coming from. Just remember what it first felt like for you guys when you guys were like, should this be legal? Isn't this dumb? Blocking and attacking, corner jab. Just remember how you guys first felt. They're feeling the same thing you guys did for the first time, right? Try to understand that some of these people are just coming from the same place you guys did a long time ago, right? And I understand it, just to say, oh, that sounds like a scrubby thing to say but somebody, that doesn't help anything, right? Everybody's got to kind of work together to make this game be big. And then obviously Digital Eclipse has got to do its job and give crossplay and yada, yada, yada. And also, I urge Digital Eclipse to bring crossplay almost immediately. Don't make it a NetherRealm Studios version of coming soon, because this game is fucked if you do that. Like, actually make it come soon, almost immediately. And these tournament organizers, please, Aquaman, the Coliseum, Destroyer, where you have your tournaments, and Thursday, Tampa Never Sleeps, whatever. Please put these games in. Give them a chance. Like, don't assume, Classic MK, blah, 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 it's MK. Give them a chance. Give the community a chance to grow. And Digital Eclipse, God, how fucked will you guys be if everything comes together except for you guys? And it's all got to work out, and I really hope it does.
Can I say something cool too? Is I am on the more optimistic side of new players jumping on and wanting to learn instead of getting frustrated and saying fuck it, I'm done. Because what's really cool? I didn't mention this either. Rio, you might know about this, but there's a lot of cool matches always being uploaded now of UMK, like high level back to back to back to back from Fightcade, like the biggest players. You know what I mean? Like Jugs sent me a message a couple weeks ago, like, Ariane, you're like, no doubts, I see your name like every week uploaded. And I'm like, really? And I have to go on and I'm like, damn, like I go on, like I just played a match against some top Brazilian player, and then the next day it's uploaded, and then I read the comments, and I've never had this experience before where this big audience, we're talking like these big channels with this one channel has like what 70,000 followers. Speed's channel has like 340, 400,000 followers. These big people on big platforms are now uploading all these UMK matches back to back. And a lot of new players, even if they do get frustrated when they first hop on, they get inspired. They watch these videos, and I see all these players. And before I hopped on Fightcade, or right when I did, I messaged one of my friends and I said, listen, I have a confession to make. Even as good as I was at this game, I really never became the player I actually wanted to be. And then he's like, well, what player did you want to be? I'm like, I don't know. I want to be cooler, do bigger combos, be flashier, have style, even though none of that matters, right? And I just I never really became the player I wanted. But then I see all these comments from these people, this new crowd, this new audience, and I become a favorite in this new generation of viewers and players. I had this Brazilian messaging me yesterday saying, this is a new Brazilian player. He said, Speed just sent me a message. He says he thinks you're the best UMK3 player in the USA. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like, that's got to be a joke. And he sent me the proof. He sent me a Photoshop, and I'm like, that is insane. Basically what the internet is allowing, as far as reaching people, inspiring people. The more people are inspired, the more motivated they are going to be to learn the game.
Does anybody have a tutorial how to do this? Does anybody have an actual tutorial showing people how to do this?
To do what?
Like to block jab, glitch jab, whatever you want to call it now. Does anyone have a tutorial?
Yeah. There are tutorials.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos.
Enough.
But I think people don't know where to find them, right? That's the problem, right? Ultimately, they don't know where to find them. Like people like Rio, where people know where to find. Like you guys need to put this stuff up. Like, because people are not going to search the internet for how to do it. They go
well, I can make that video after I upload my video on how to counter glitch jabs tonight.
I would highly recommend doing it.
Yeah, people on big platforms have to. They're responsible, as for the most part, to not just showcase what block jabs are, defense jabs, remember that term? But really showcased how to deal with it from a basic level all the way to an advanced level. And then suddenly people are gonna, their eyes are gonna, they're gonna wake up to like, all right, these are the possibilities. This is how you could deal in all these different scenarios. Every situation is different. So, but again, like I was saying before, with all these big high level matches always uploaded constantly, it serves as an inspiration for people to strive to get really good.
Yes, that's why it's so
So-
important to teach them how to do it first of all, so that they can practice.
Yeah, and I'll say
I think
this:
the most important
that's
thing, step one.
impressive that Speed said that you're the best UMK3 player in USA, because Speed is probably regarded as probably
best in Brazil.
Yeah, probably
In the
like
world.
yeah, he's probably considered the best in the world, pretty much by a lot of people with how good he is at the game.
He's a legend, and he had followed me randomly on Instagram. Like, what? That's Speed, like Alan Speed. Like he's got like 30,000 followers on Instagram. He's got 450,000, or I don't know, 400,000 followers on
Yeah,
YouTube.
he's
It's like
probably the
surreal.
most popular 2D MK player, honestly.
He is, and like I'm like, why? I mean, what do you? I thought I'm like, you're joking. This Brazilian player, he's a new one. Okay, he's like he's been playing for 2 months, but he made this group that he put me in, and it has all the top Brazilian players in the world. I'm familiar with most now because of Fightcade, and they're all cool dudes. But I'm like, you're totally joking. Like, why would? First of all, I'm not competitive anymore. Second, I'm like, you know what I mean? I don't really do much on Fightcade. I mean, I just use Shiva. Like that's all. But I don't know. Maybe he's been seeing these match videos, and I don't know. But I think I was good in 2011. But to be as good as I used to be, like I would like to try maybe again. If the game releases on a better port.
Yeah, that's actually pretty funny because it's like you said earlier. Like usually when you see people winning tournaments for UMK3, it's mostly Cabal or Human Smoke. It's very rare to see people win a tournament without using Cabal or Human Smoke. So when they're
Yeah.
seeing a player like you that's beating good players or winning things without using Cabal and Human Smoke, that tends to stick out. They're like, wow, this guy did it, but he didn't do it with Cabal and Human Smoke. So that to them, they probably find that very enjoyable to watch.
Well, people are thinking now that Shiva's top tier, and it's just I'm laughing at it because I'm like, well, my matches aren't going to get uploaded because I just use Shiva, and like, who the fuck wants to see the worst character in the game, like just spamming her? And people are they love watching, and they're just like, I have a lot of players that they're like, yeah, he's my favorite player, and I'm like, what do you like about me? I don't have any big combos. I don't use male ninjas and do the big combos because Rio, back then, like if you want to be famous, well, if you want to be popular, you got to pick the male ninjas and do the big combos.
Yeah, that was the
So-
mainstream way. You got to do the huge fancy ripped 100% combos or Human Smoke 60% and Ermac 80% combos.
Well, I think it's for
Yeah.
the same reason that even in MK9, like I used to have fans that I know I have none anymore. All my viewers, you can go fuck yourselves.
Oh my
Um,
god.
I'm sorry. I hate every single one of them, Dave. I just do.
You're so
But I think it's because people like to look at. I think ultimately people want to believe that, hey, I can pick any. And unfortunately, you know this, Dave. It's not true that you really can't always pick any character and win at any time. It's unrealistic in the modern fighting game. But to even see that, and even Ariane will say, like, look, if I really wanted to win to play Shiva at the highest possible level, probably not. But the fact that he's able to compete at an amazingly high level with what is seen as not seen is the worst character in the game, a lot of people are like, oh, that gives them hope that they can play their favorite character that they enjoy, rather than saying, well, I guess I got to play the best character in the game if I want to have a chance. For the same reason why everyone loves like in 9, like Sub-Zero, even though he was good, he was low tier. Or in any other game where people do a lot of work with a character not seen as like an Omega top character. I think it gives people hope that, hey, if this guy no doubt is playing this game, considered to be a not the most balanced game, and he's doing it with Shiva, why can't I pick my favorite character and do it too? And I think that is inspirational to a lot of people, and I think that's why they do enjoy watching you play so much.
That's what I've just recently picked up on. Like maybe they just, first of all, they like seeing something different. They like to see that there's possibilities outside of because even though the game is evolved and there's a lot of players now in Fightcade, like there is still a lot of that same shit. There is a lot of like so many Ermacs and so many Cabals and Human Smokes that's still there, and it becomes boring a lot to watch the same matchups and the same tactics and the same strategies and the same everything, and I've always been just using who I like and not thinking about it, just using who I enjoy using for whatever reason. Shiva was an accident, honestly. Like I always used her, but not spammed her. Spam meaning user, just only user and nobody else really. Or maybe one other character, but it was just by accident. Like nothing on Fight Kid really works for me, right? The timing is not right. It doesn't take my pad well, but I think that's another reminder. Is as broken as UMK is, I think the coolest thing about the game too is really you can win with any character. And Rio, remember Winter Wars? Like, dude, he's still to me the best Cyrax and Sector I've ever seen.
Yes, I
So
remember, and this is a funny story. Back when we used to play on main, like in 2008, Winter Wars was playing with us, and he used to be ridiculous. He used to have this weird play style where he would do a lot of sweeps, a lot of high kicks, low kicks. I remember Base joined one time, played with us, and Winter Wars was running a clinic on base with Cyrax and Sector, just high kicking the hell. I'm like, wow, I never understood back then why that worked. I'm like, why is this even working? Until recently, a few years ago, when Biggs told me, he was like, oh, you didn't know? Cabal spin's disabled when you block moves like sweeps or high kicks to prevent Cabal from spin punch you. Now I look back at moments like that, I'm like, oh, now I understand why Winter Wars was able to.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't. That's this whole time I'm playing it's Cabal back then. I was so scared to sleep doing it because I'm like, oh, he's gonna block this and punish me. Back then, the issue was there was not a lot of basic knowledge on this stuff. Which is why with this new collection coming out, now all these new players are going to be playing it. It's good to have a lot of guides be out there and tutorials, so that way people don't have to be going like how do you play this game? What is this? Does this move work here? Because it's a struggle when you're trying to learn a game like UMK3. The game doesn't tell you anything about it. You have to kind of learn on your own and through experience.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hidden secrets in the game.
What do you guys think about regular MK3? Because this is the most curious thing for me. So
It's underrated. I think it's fun.
I probably played more regular MK3 than most people. Just obnoxious. I mean, it was a perfect combination. Me Sub-Zero being what he was. So when UMK3 came out, it was a lot of mixed reactions in the arcade crowd. And for me, I felt like specials were more impactful in MK3. You also didn't have the jump and punch style of combo, which made certain things like Jax's projectile a little more effective. Jax's fireballs were better. Liu Kang could punish sweeps with bike kick into dial a combo for 48%, which is why sweepers were so effective against him. Of course, they disabled run in UMK3. Sub-Zero with clone, and obviously if he hits you once, the game is over. Cyrax, there has never been a time where at high level somebody set up a Cyrax 100% combo situation on me, and I felt like I got cheated. It was very difficult to do, especially at high level. Very hard to do. And I just felt like the specials were more impactful in that game. And then in UMK3, I just feel like jabs were just way bigger than they ever were. I know they're possible in MK3 as well, but I just felt like specials were more impactful. Jump and punch, no dial a combo. I'm just curious. Do you see people playing regular MK3? What do the UMK people today think about regular MK3? I'm just curious about that. I don't think I've ever asked anyone about that.
Well, let me again kind of give before the experts weigh in. Let me kind of give my opinion, probably what most of the wider audience thinks, because I'm mostly confident as a spectator. And Rio showed me the Jax's projectile MK in MK3. If you guys could see my eyes, it was like the emoji with the hearts and the eyes. Like I was so happy. I'm like, yes, it's awesome. That projectile was, what was it real? Like he does the double projectile, literally like back that's just like literally full screen.
Yeah, the
away. I'm
double
like,
arm
oh.
shot and has no cooldown. You could just spam it.
Yeah, I
Get
was
a
like,
single
oh
one,
my
yeah.
God. I'm pretty sure it's broken, whatever, but it's just like, just to have that, which is unique. I've never seen anything like that. But yeah, this is what I mean. I think, well, two comments, right? It's just like finding in developers balance games, not just like within the same game. They balance games from game to game, and it says, like, you know what, this was strong. Let's make all the special moves a lot worse, which I think is essentially what Ultimate is. And to me, when I watch the game, I'm really sad because I'm like, man, oh man, I really wish I could play MK3 or why can't we have N64 trilogy, right? Like this is the meta is just way too repetitive for me. So that's one thing, and obviously the other thing is just like, hey, yeah, I don't know some of the stuff is broken, but I just wish there were a better balance between the glitch which are fine, and the better special moves, which again goes back to the N64 and MK3 argument, even MK2, which had too strong of a too strong of special moves, right? Like ground pound, Melina Sai, right, etc. The Liu Kang stuff, So I just want a better balance, and I just want to reiterate, like when I say balance, I don't mean necessarily like character balance. Just like give me a better balance within the game overall. You know, what's strong in terms of zoning, special moves, etc., etc. That's what I mean by balance as an overall experience, not just like character. You know, which character sucks, which character's god tier.
Yeah, well, what's funny is regarding MK3 to UMK3, they actually nerfed the jabs in MK3 to UMK3. The problem is, even though they nerfed the jabs in MK3, they ended up nerfing a lot of other moves, like Tom was mentioning some of the specials pretty severely in UMK3. Like, for
Mhm.
example, and some characters that didn't even have to get nerfed got nerfed. Like, Shane got nerfed from MK3 to UMK3. Why? Who the hell thought he was too good? Shiva has more damage scaling in UMK3. Syrax has more damage scaling in UMK3. He can't do certain things that he couldn't in MK3. You have characters like Cabal, who, I mean, I can understand why he got nerfed, but it kind of sucks because the Saw Blade stuff he was doing was cool. They should have probably nerfed the spin instead of nerfing the Saw Blade, because the Saw Blade stuff you could do was really cool
That's
in
kind of what
MK3.
we all thought at the time.
Yeah,
We were
it's like, why
why
would
did they nerf
you
this?
leave the brain dead thing that's in the game that anybody could do, but then you nerf the hard to do Saw combos that was pretty interesting. But then Sub-Zero, they nerfed Sub-Zero's clone like 4 different ways. They got rid of the combos on it. They got rid of the proximity. They made it so it doesn't hit you when you block, but they didn't give him anything in return. So the character just becomes like really bad. But honestly,
Yo,
what they
Tom's
should have done
getting
with
flat.
Sub-Zero, just make it so the best way they could have done to Sub-Zero to keep him good was just give him one nerf. Make it so the clone doesn't freeze you when you block, and that was it. That way in UMK3, it's so dumb how like you can almost never do it because the
Well,
proximity
in
on it.
UMK,
Now I get why Tom is miserable. Tom has been miserable the past 20 years.
well, no, I liked it in MK9. Well, the problem is it not being blockable was a problem because
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
have scenarios where somebody would crouch block, and if you did like a deep jump kick or something like that into a clone in open space, it was guaranteed. You could do a move
Yeah,
deep
I've seen
enough
that.
into clone,
Yeah,
and
I've seen
it was unblockable. It was a huge problem.
Yeah, that was a little too brain dead. Being able to do it when someone's in your face with pressure, but they should have just let him do it, but have it be blockable. So that way, he's like this really good offensive character with his own playstyle. And then characters like Jax, even though I understand why they nerfed the projectile, they nerfed other things that didn't need to get nerfed. Like, why did they make it so his dash punch now in UMK3 is disabled if you block a sweep? Like, how would that have been so good?
Yeah.
If you could put, like, there's some things they went overboard within UMK3 that unfortunately it just is what it is. But I guess we're gonna
But
see
do you
what
see people
wave net
playing
changes.
MK3?
I mean, for fun, yeah. I mean, I played with the Troy and Biggs of like 4 months ago, and we had fun with it. I thought I was expecting the game to be a lot worse than people were saying. They're making it seem like MK3 isn't worth playing and it's so bad, but it's actually not. It's fun. Do I think it's better than the MK3? No, but I think it's interesting and fun to play every once in a while.
Yeah.
Do you guys think MK2 is going to get any traction here? I mean, I think a lot of people.
Yes, a lot. That game is
I
a lot
think
popular
so.
than people
I
think.
think so.
He's way too strong in that fucking game, bro. No,
No,
way.
dude, people
I
know how
think
to fight the zoning in that game. Dude, MK2 has a huge following, and it's
Mhm.
almost as big as UMK3. I don't think people understand. Like, MK2 is pretty big, and a lot of people like the playstyle and how it's very heavy on mind games. And
That's where I
can,
started.
yeah, you can glitch jab in MK2, but there's so many ways to stop it. Like, you think you're going to glitch jab against Liu Kang or Katana or Melina or Jax or even characters like Sub-Zero. Like, there's a lot of ways to deal with that. So MK2, I think, in my opinion, the biggest games when when this thing comes out at the end of the month is it's going to be UMK3, MK2. MK4 may not be as big in the beginning, but it may end up becoming really big once people understand the meta and how to play it more.
They get unblockable, then that's going to be the end of that. That's going to. That's the.
Yeah, but
There's no way MK2 kind of reminds me a little bit of Injustice. I think the zoning and the special moves are way too strong. So you have like Jax just zone the crap out of you with with the unblockable and stuff. With his
well, yeah, you're gonna get
projectiles,
zoned in that game. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
But it's
he
still got
kinda
a fun
reminds me of
element to
this-
it. There's a high skill ceiling in that game too.
Rio, of course I think it's fun. Like I like MK3.
No, but I'm
based
saying
on
there's a
your-
high
your-
skill ceiling in it. Like, you're kind of underrating how hard the game is to play.
No, yeah, fair enough. But like maybe at a low level people will enjoy it. But once again, if these damn games that are ranked system, which they're all, of course, all of them should, like you're gonna fight a high level Melina or Jax eventually, and I think that's most people will get discouraged.
Right,
Yeah, that'll be
and what No Doubt was saying earlier with all the issues with Fightcade, one of the issues I think Fightcade has is it doesn't have a ranked queue. Like, wouldn't it be nice, like a modern game, you could pop up Fightcade, search rank match, it'll find your opponent, whatever, while searching, while you're doing whatever. But you can't do that in Fightcade. In Fightcade, you have to sit there and challenge like all these different people and then wait to get a response. and you can
Wait, what do
cherry
you mean
pick.
ranked queue?
Like, you know how you play, like if you're playing any current modern game, like MK1 or whatever, you go to
Mhm.
ranked mode, you enter it, and then it's searching for an opponent. So you don't have to do anything. It just matches you with people, like random ranked people.
Oh, you mean like a
Yeah.
random like arcade collection did sort of?
Yeah, exactly. Like a queue. If they had something like that in Fightcade, it would be so good because now people can't
Well,
cherry
let's just
pick.
start with crossplay. Let's just start with the basics.
I agree,
Let's
but
start with the basics. Let's start with the basics. And I also want to throw a little thing in here because I know he's going to get butthurt and all the Chicago people, Lex, Adam, blah 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 blah. You know, I just, I mean, it was to the point where I'll never forget. I was at there's just a lot with me and those guys. Even to the point where I remember Dream TR was calling me out. And he was like, come to MWC, play any Mortal Kombat game for $500. And I was like, any of them? No problem. I'm going to pick the one the guy. I'm going to pick MK4. Problem solved. I went out and bought the arcade machine. I practiced up a little bit. And then he was like, well, wait till we take you out in MK2. I was like, no. There will be even a chance for retribution. I'm going to play MK4. I'm going to collect my $500 and I'm going to go home. Yeah, and he was like, well, I got to be compensated because, and I was like, listen, man, you got to understand how the English language works. If I challenge Mike Tyson to any sport and he chooses boxing, I don't get to be upset about it. Any arcade Mortal Kombat game, I'm picking MK4. Needless to say, it never happened. And then it was a lot of drama with Lex and Adam Hernandez, and they were going to come. Adam was going to show up and beat me in MK Deadly Alliance. They sent some other game tester. He got mopped up. And then went to Chicago. I was like to play Adam, and they're like, no, he said, play it and whatever. And I was actually playing Lex. Lex was like, I'm the jack of all trades, baby. I play all these other games. And I was competing in Tekken 4. I'm playing Lex in Tekken 4. It was terrible. And Lex is like, oh my God, the fucking sidestep. And I was like, yeah, it ruins the game. Lex is a 3D game. The sidestep. What do you think? I mean, like, UMK3 players don't do themselves any favors when they go to other games, man. Like, they at least those guys didn't. They just were never tournament players. I mean, it's no disrespect. They weren't garbage players. I'm just talking shit, man. They were very good players for the era, but they weren't tournament players. You can be very good and still be complete cheeks in tournament because you got to get it done when it matters. And there were never tournament players. Mo was a great player, not Mo. He panicked in tournament in UMK3 when Rio got him. He constantly got nervous in MK9. He's not a tournament player, which is cool. You can be a great player, but just not do well in tournaments. Lex, not a tournament player. None of those guys were tournament players. And these guys are leading the charge to fuck the glitch tabs. Fuck, Lex started his group. What was it? UMK3 Gramps or whatever. And he got mad because the glitch
Can you
tabs.
explain the story on that? What is that UMK3 Grams?
Lex started this Facebook group. Again, you're in the fucking goddamn Stone Age, Lex, the Facebook group.
What is it called? UMK3
never heard of that.
Gramps, as in Gramps?
Yeah, UMK3 Gramps. And
what does
there was
Gramps
an issue
mean?
with summoning because he talked to Base and Base.
Really?
And
funny.
Base and the glitch tabbing and fuck this and fuck that. So he disbanded the group. Like, and even when like Rio would talk to Rio, didn't know who he was at first. So I remember on Test You Might when they're talking about high level UMK3, and Lex was like, "Yeah, do that jabbing thing," throwing into a random Kung Lao spin, and Rio was like,
"What the fuck did I just read?"
Rio's like, he didn't know who he was. Rio's like, "We got a scrub alert here, boys."
No, so this is the story. This is the backstory on Lex. So what's funny is I don't know if Aaron remembers this, but I remember one time Lex went on to MAME in 2009. And he was playing Winter Wars, and Winter Wars beat the hell out of him, and he immediately left. I remember asking him, like, Winter Wars, did you play? He was like, I just played Lex, and I beat him. And I remember Lex left, and he got so pissed. And then he was on the forum or whatever when we were talking, but I didn't know he was this big game UMK3 person, because back then I only played online on Xbox Live. Like, I didn't follow UMK3 before that. So I'm on the forum, and we're discussing tier lists, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, like, and they were like, how dare you put Kung Lao lower tier? He's like top 3, like... It was Lex, Dead MK. They were all like, you don't know, like Kano, Kung Lao. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, we play against these characters that we don't understand what they do. They get jabbed to death. And then Lex was like, you're not going to jab Kung Lao. He's going to sneak in a spin and catch you slipping, and then you're going to get launched. And I'm like, does he not know about the block jabbing? Yeah. If you spin against Katana when she's rushing down, you're going to die. That's how you lose to the character. Like, the spin is never going to hit a Katana jabbing you. So that to me was crazy. And then look, I never had a problem with Lex. even though this dude hated me, couldn't stand me. Like this guy had a grudge not only on me, but he hated Winter Warriors. Pretty sure he didn't like No Doubt and especially bass. And he just was so, and he used to always go on this line, which I never understood what it meant until now. He used to be like, "Oh, you guys aren't that good. Fight me on WaveNet, whatever." Well, guess what?
Wouldn't matter.
Legacy Collection's coming out. It's gonna have WaveNet.
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't
Yeah,
matter.
but if Lex wants to run that set on WaveNet, I'm
it
more than
wouldn't
happy
matter. He
to.
still wouldn't win. He doesn't use the jabbing. And
Yeah, but I'm saying if Lex listens to this, Lex, I'll play you on WaveNet.
it's
in
never
a
going to
couple weeks
happen.
from now.
Right now. It's never going to happen. And these guys, I mean, Lex would always talk about who had the streaks in WaveNet, and I'm like, that's casual games. Who fucking cares who had the streaks in your local Chicago area? They never traveled for tournaments. They're not tournament players. Lex came out here. There wasn't a lot of people. Played shotgun, a round robin tournament. Shock pieces him out. I mean, like this was years even before the glitch jabbing. So it wasn't even the glitch jabbing that pieced him out.
Yeah,
Like,
that was always my number one question about Lex. I always respected his legacy or whatever, and I was always told like, all right, this is probably the best dude in the USA. And I always asked, well, how was he
no
considered
tournaments.
the
What
best?
tournaments?
How
Exactly.
is he? How was he considered the best UMK player when he only played
In
offline
Chicago.
in this little pond, a big fish in a
Yes.
small
Yeah, how
pond?
does that, I never understood that either because everybody
Yeah.
said Lex was the best for the longest
Well, they
in
always
USA.
believed that Chicago was where it was at, and that myth.
No, I know that, but how did he gain the title? Like, what tournaments did he win to be considered the best in
Yeah, like,
USA?
There's other
So
people in the US.
apparently there was a quote unquote national tournament
Oh, that he won.
held in Chicago, in which it was only advertised in Chicago. In
Go
which
figure.
I forget who won. Paulo, I don't
Lex?
remember who it was. I think Dream TR got third. I don't remember who it was. Lex was talking about people that would win. He was like him, Mo, Paulo, whatever. None of those guys traveled. Not a single one of them traveled. This is based on locals. And this is at a time when people were already traveling regionally and nationally. In UMK3, at the end of that game, the internet was starting to become a little more prevalent. And people were still on 56K modems, but you had message board, you had pound MK on IRC, you had ICQ, you had ways to communicate, and people would post things on message boards.
UltimateMK.com was a big one. Lex used to be there all
Yeah.
the time posting.
And this is so people kind of knew where tournaments were being, and people started to travel. Like in MK4, I traveled all the time to San Francisco. There was a player in the western part of Canada named Chairshot. I don't know if he's still around or still watches. I found out about him, and they're like, "Oh man, this guy, man!" And I used to travel once a month across the country, trying to catch the day that this guy's going to show up. And I later got in contact with him in MK Nightmares, which was, 2000, I think it was, with the first real actual MK site. But these guys didn't travel. And when I would go, these guys were garbage at MK4. I mean, gutter garbage. And they were all about WaveNet. And this is a version of the game that nobody could play besides them. The only thing WaveNet changes, it adds Noob Saibot. It tones down Cabal's. They called it his flash. It tones down the flash, his flash.
Spin.
Yeah, they called it the flash though. That's what they called it back then. So it tones down the spin for those modern players, and gets rid of the infinites. That's all it does. So a lot of the other stuff you guys are doing, it's still going to be just as effective. It's still going to work, and then he's going to be like, "Oh, the jabs." Blah,
Wait a
blah,
minute.
blah, blah, blah.
Wait a minute. When you say it gets rid of the infinites, are you just talking about two characters? Does it get rid of Reptile's infinites? Get rid of the other character, the relaunches?
No, I think it gets rid of Kung Lao and Striker.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's sad because those two characters need that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true.
It's funny. They don't get
Which
rid
just
of
goes
the
to
check
show that they
ultimate.
just didn't have a fun. And this is I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This just goes to
Yeah.
show, like, see, again, there was this mini war with me and UMK3 players, and I was like, I'm not saying I'm top now. I'm saying I was top then, and I'm trying to say that you guys are playing the game at a level far higher than we played it back then. Like, I'm on your side. Like, I guess it was misconstrued, and myself and Jugs, we kind of saw eye to eye and was like, oh, okay, and we have a very mutual respect for each other now. But those players just could not grasp. It was like, no, we'll show you what's up. It's WaveNet, and it's like, no, man, no, you're not playing the game at their level. Like, just you got to get over it. And the Chicago guys just can't do it. They're still stuck in, oh man, Chicago. That's when people see what's up. The truth is, you're not tournament players. Lex was a great player. Came over here, got mopped up by Shock. He mopped up, whatever. I don't want to say mopped, but he lost. Mo lost to Rhea. I mean, like, it's over. This mystique that they claim they had, they never had it. Never had it. And then again, Adam Hernandez, another funny story. Then even he did say, "Oh, come to Chicago. We'll see what's up in MK. What was it? MK6, whatever it was. Deception. I guess that's what he called it. MK6 at the time. I found Baraicho. Dave, you know Baraicho was dumb. So if somebody was doing that day one, it's an omega advantage, right? And this was actually discovered by Justin Wong. Very lucky that Justin Wong discovered a lot of some of the whole point about OTGs with Baraicho. Just very lucky to have him at my house when the game got launched. I'm playing Lex, and he's like playing Dyro, and I'm not Lex, Adam, and I know it's Adam. I'm like, okay, but if he loses, he'll say it's somebody else. The guy's name was Do. I knew it was Adam. These people are so retarded. This is how they think. I knew it was him. And I'm like, hey man, is this Adam? And he's like, no, my name is Geronimo. And I'm like, okay, this dude's an idiot. I know it's him. So I'm like, I'm just gonna pick Liu Kang, whatever, lose. And then the guy's like, yeah, bitch, it's Adam. Pick Baraicho, beat the stuffing out of him. And then he's just like, the lag, the connection. And then even during MK9, when I went to NetherRealm to play for 1 week, I played the game for 2 days, and as Shock, I said, bring Adam Hernandez right here. My 2-day Sub-Zero will mop him up. Didn't play. When I went to, what tournament was it? The Vegas one, PDP. I couldn't compete as I was a tester, so no former anything could compete in this tournament. Rightfully so. It's $21,000. Any concept of an unfair advantage, you're disqualified. No problem with that. But I was allowed to play in the mini player tournament. So on the side, there were these 8-man single elimination brackets that you could pay into. And I think there were 8 of them. And then at the end of the day, all the winners, and if the guy won multiple tournaments, the second place would get in. They would do a single elimination top 8 bracket for all the winners. So I was like, I'll play if Adam Hernandez is going to play. Wouldn't enter a single one. Oh yeah, I'm working, I'm commentating. I was like, well, there's a break right now in the action. You can come in and play right now. No, doesn't want to do it. All these guys have always, in every MK game imaginable, have always strayed away from real competition when the spotlight is on them. So were they good players? Yes, they were not garbage players, but they were unwilling to accept the fact that you guys have taken the game to a new level, and they're just living in their minds where they were these legends, and they were great players, but they were not competitive. Did they travel like you? Absolutely not. Did they play tournaments?
Tom,
Absolutely not.
Let me get this because I have to get going soon. I just want to say this real quick. Well, I have one comment and another question, then I have to run. I think you making it sound like, again, I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not going to call any names, but it's like, imagine if Tom, Rio, and I talked about, the good old Deception days and how we were the best and how the game should be revived. And, it's just like, exactly. Tom just said it. That's the reaction, right? It's a laugh because the game is not.
Hold on.
good.
To be fair, though, were we not the best back then in 3DMKs? We were beating
were,
pretty much
but I
everybody.
wouldn't
What tournaments
I
in
wouldn't like
Deception,
put my ego on the line, like, you know what, back when I competed, you guys show me some respect. No, it's
Yeah,
stupid.
no, that would be a big
I
cringe
never
to say
thought
that.
about it.
Like, did you guys not
Yeah,
know we were
exactly.
the best players in 3DMK? I don't think anybody cares, to be honest.
But honestly, again, with all due respect to anybody, like, is Ultimate that far ahead? Like, is Trilogy that far ahead? Is MK2 that far ahead? Like,
No, I think
honestly,
these games are
from the
100 times better
yes.
competitively than the 3DMKs,
Well-
except for DA. DA is the only good 3DMK.
Yes.
But
okay,
Deception
but
is
why
a
are
joke.
then why are these people so salty? But these people, I mean, these old school players. Why are we having these dumb conversations about who's
Because these guys
cheating?
took the game to another level. They
Here's
can't
the
accept
thing.
it.
Tom so with the steps.
I think it was mainly
Yeah.
Lex. Like Mo and the others, they seemed cool. I never had a problem. I never saw Mo trash
that's
talking
not
on
what
the.
I hear.
Wait, was Mo
That's
trash
real.
talking online on the forums? I didn't see him doing
not
that.
Mo, but when I used to retest your mind back in the day, or even before it even became test your mind, what was the
Mortal Kombat
forum called?
Empires.
Yeah, thank you. Like these people took that very serious. I'm talking about people like Shock, Tim Static. I mean, you do not Jugs.
Yeah.
You never fuck around with the ultimate, man. You never call anybody out. You don't call the game bad. If you did, you were destroyed. I mean, they would call you, like a modern, like whatever. You're not. Why? Who are you? To comment.
That's why I got banned from casting MortalKombat.com. Yeah.
Well, I think you should be unbanned, but this is the point, and I can actually probably make it even happen. But like the point is, guys, it's a niche fighting game played by a very niche community. And the point I'm trying to make is like Tom and all of his faults. We literally could have done the same thing with Deception. Like, you guys never respected us. Who are you to judge us? We won with Diver and Baraicho. And what happened? Tom literally just laughed because he even knows how stupid that is. Like, it's the biggest stupidity of all time. Like, I don't ego that. I'm like, yeah, actually, that's ironically maybe the worst part of my fighting game career, right? Like, winning
I used
whatever
to say all the
online.
time, Dave, anyone can off the street can win with Baraicho in 5 minutes. I say that all the time.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say this though. I don't remember Shock and Tim Static saying they were the best in this and that. I do remember Lex constantly gloating about it.
Yeah,
on the forums.
It's mainly
Lex was doing it, but I don't remember Shock making posts to him going like, "Guys, I'm the best." Like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm the best. Or Tim.
Rio, it's not about being the best or not. I'm not saying Tim Static or Shock or Jogs ever did that, but it's like, guys, you talk about a game that's played by like 100 people in the country,
right?
Like,
but this kind of but you're not getting. Tom was saying that there was a player called Lex that used to do this and constantly talk trash. If you go back, you can read the threads. There's tier list threads from 2009 or whatever in TYM. Go read them. Lex is in there talking trash, going like, "You guys are dumb. You don't know what you're doing. See me in WaveNet."
No,
well, here's the
some of
thing.
these guys just don't understand.
And we didn't know what the hell WaveNet was back then. I was like, "What the hell is WaveNet?" Me and Winter Wars are like, "What is WaveNet? What is he talking about?"
Doesn't matter what WaveNet what was or wasn't. The point is like, I don't never see you talk like that. I'm not saying that most of them did. Like, I don't see you talk like that about Armageddon or Tom talk about that.
Because in my opinion, anybody don't look, because it's like this. Anybody who wants to play a game can play a game. And this is also a dumb thing right now in the UMK3 community. But let me say this. So there has been someone in the UMK3 community saying I should not be allowed to talk about UMK3 because I haven't played the game since 2011, right?
Well, I know who it was.
Do you know how stupid this logic is? This is like some. Hold on, let me. Can I speak? Do you know how stupid this logic is? This is like someone going like, "Rio, stop making videos about MK9. You haven't played that since 2013, 12 years ago. Why are you making videos?" Yeah. I don't have to play a game every single day for 20 years straight to make videos or talk about it. This is the dumbest talking point ever. Second of all, let me answer this post since we're talking about the topic. But this person said I stopped playing because they beat me off the game. No, I didn't stop playing because you beat me off the game. I stopped playing because there was a game coming out in 2011 called MK9. That's
called Rage Bait, Rio, dude.
Yeah, but but I can't tell if it's trolling or not because when I read the post, it looks so serious. And what's weird is, but on my main YouTube channel, I have so many sets of me playing bass in 2010 or whatever before MK9 came out, and guess who was doing good in those sets? With Bottom 2 Melina, by the way, on Cabal, who was getting a lot of wins.
There when you were,
my point is, but I'm just making it because there's some people trying to rewrite history and stuff. Like, I never quit UMK3 because I lost to Cabal, but like, I kept playing.
We all agree, bass place in history.
Yeah, and again, I don't even have a problem with bass. And this is what's weird about bass. When I used to talk to bass,
can we just all agree that bass had a massive impact on the game?
He did, but what I'm saying is it's weird because when I used to play MK3 a lot before MK9 was out, I used to play bass all the time, and we used to play constantly, and bass used to even tell me, like, "Wow, Rio, I'm glad I have you to play because so many people refuse to play me. Like, you'll play me games, you won't leave after 2, you won't leave after I baby you, this and that." And I'd be like, "Yeah, I want to play and learn." So it's weird to hear what he's saying now when I used to always play with him back then. That's just, I'm just don't understand where this is coming from.
He's saying, like, test your mind lasted like a week before you made certain comments. Look, I'm all for free speech. The guy's a lunatic.
Right. Look, I don't mind people trolling, but can we at least tell the truth and not make up stories that never happened?
Dude, hold on a second. Dude, I protected you. I'm like, dude, what the hell you talking? He made some weird.
No, but
like,
Dave, you don't
I don't know,
understand, bro. We
sexual
used to do
taste-
all. No, Dave, you don't
Leo,
understand. We
this
used
is
no, but
insanity.
wait, hold on. I'm gonna let you talk. Let me just say
Leo,
this.
let me say this,
but
bro.
let me just say this, Dave. I'll let you go because I'm the subject on base. We used to do a lot of King of the Hills back then on main, where like players with 4 people used to be me. No Doubt used to play a lot with us. Winter Wars base used to play with us, bro. In these 4-man King of the Hills, I'll tell you this. A lot of us used to alternate between who was winning, and base was not one of them. He used to usually be the one leaving, being like, "This is dumb. You guys are lagging." Whatever. I'm just saying we
You
were
wanted
pretty
to
good back
invite him to
then.
the
Like,
podcast. I said no. After Roy, I think our audience has had enough of bullshit. Like, no, I'm not going to debate some. There's another modern player who lost 13-0 and a 10-0. No, I don't want to debate people like that. I'm sick of
Why
them.
you
Like,
do
what?
that?
13-0
Why did
and
you
a
do
10-0.
that?
What do you, dude?
Why did you do that?
I had to do it. You
Dave
know
couldn't
why?
help it.
Why did you do that, man?
I had to. It's justified. But anyway, I put that same player in Bass's.
Okay, wait. Since you brought that up, what is your beef with PL? Because I never understood what the beef is about. Like, did you
There's
guys
no
do a
beef.
money match?
I literally went on Mike's podcast and I couldn't talk for like 10 minutes straight. But anyway,
I don't want to get into this.
By the way, I would love to have
Well,
PL
neither
come on
do
this
I.
podcast if he's interested, because
But
I'm cool
anyway,
with PL.
I don't want to
well,
get into this right now. I
neither
don't
do
want.
I.
We're gonna leave
But the
PL
point
out
is
of this.
this. Hold on. Fair enough. The point is, Rio wanted to wipe this Mr. Bass.
Well, yes, with Legacy Collection come out, I want to invite as much UMK3 players as possible. Base is one of them.
They're not
And-
honest actors. Like, you literally made a post and test your might, like literally 4 racial statements in a row. Like, what? I'm going to record for. I respect, no doubt. He came in. We probably disagree about fighting games, and I still have one question. He's probably going to roll his eyes. Probably going to want to strangle me, and I'm saving them for the last. But like, I respect people who are. Even Roy was a waste of time. Why is he on the podcast? Talk about. Oh, you know what? The first year of MK1 was good. Nobody believes that. I'm sorry. You are an idiot. Dude, I am the biggest MK1, one of the biggest MK1 defenders. Tom and I argue all the time. Tom, does anybody believe that MK1 in its first year was good? No.
Roy Archon.
What are we
Dave,
doing?
I 100% get what you're
Why
saying.
is the guy on the
Dave,
podcast?
I
You're bringing
100%.
more out of the
Dave,
pot. I'm sick of it, man.
I 100% get what you're saying, but Base is kind of weird because he's actually smart. I've talked to him in private before.
No, he's an idiot.
I
He's not
think
smart.
no, but I think if he were to come on the podcast, he wouldn't start saying racial slurs and being stupid. I think he would actually be about it and bring actual good
Couldn't
conversation.
last on
He's
on a
just
second.
kind of a troll to get reactions. But when you talk to him one on one, I'm not defending him, right? I'm not saying anything Base says is right, but he's
Well,
actually
he needs a
on the
lesson about
smarter
trolling from
side.
You and me, then you don't troll about racial topics, about
No,
calling
I
people
agree.
sexual
Yeah,
things.
obviously that's all bad. But
Like,
I'm saying
what are you
if he were to come
doing?
on the podcast, I think he'd be smart to not say that on here because obviously then the
Well, he
episode wouldn't
hasn't
go up
proven it.
because
He hasn't proven it, and I don't trust, dude. If you can't behave yourself on a website that has like 60 users, you cannot you get banned within a week because you can't help yourself. Like, no, you have no credibility. I respect. Look, I told you this privately, and you and mine one of the best friends in the FGC. Same with Tom Brady, and this is the reason why I still do this with you guys. I think I went overboard with MK11. I didn't behave myself, and I stand by that statement. However, I do respect people like No Doubt coming in, just being passionate. I could tell he's passionate. I respect that. I genuinely respect that. It's a game I don't personally like. I may not even play, but I respect his honesty. I think he's level-headed. He's reasonable. He's honest, and I don't feel the same way about some of these other people that you're trying to bring on the podcast. Roy was a waste of time. I think this Mr. Bass figure is a complete waste of time. And let's bring in people who have something interesting to say, like No Doubt, like maybe modern games, like maybe Pick of the Hut, Michelangelo, etc., etc. Those are the people who actually have something interesting to say. Those are our friends. Why are we bringing these idiots on, man? It's a complete waste of time.
no, it's your point.
Roy was definitely, yeah. So anyway, Rio, you going to be streaming the game again? Are you streaming
Yes, of
again?
course.
Did you stream those MK? Did you stream those MKX
Yeah,
sets? I watched your YouTube stuff.
I did, and oh my dude, I went back to MKX yesterday. I'm like, let me try. Maybe it wasn't as bad as I remember. Right? It's been 3. Dude, the game is 10 times worse than I remember. The neutral's so bad you could barely. I played MKX yesterday. I streamed it.
Let me ask this question. No Doubt, you ready? What if in the ultimate we remove the glitch outs but add armor?
The game would die instantly. The game would die instantly. Nobody.
Yeah, what Rio said it.
You have to address this. You have to address the question. Remove the glitch apps, but as a defensive mechanic, I don't know.
No, because UMK3 actually has anti-airs. We don't need gimmicks like armor.
No.
Yeah,
Like if somebody runs at you, I don't know, maybe Reptile gets like armor on the elbow dash.
No.
You want to
No.
know something? You want to know something? I won 2 tournaments by accident that had no glitch jabs, and I don't know if Rio knows what I'm talking about.
Which tournaments was that? You talking about the
You
was
know what
it
I'm talking about?
was it tournament edition?
Yeah.
You know what's
Well, the story
crazy?
was. Or you want to go first? Yeah.
Yeah, well, what I was
People
gonna say real
hate it.
quick is 2 days ago when I was on Fightcade to stream it,
Mhm.
I saw when I typed in UMK3 to find the room, tournament
Mhm.
edition came up. I'm like, oh shit! I thought you could only put arcade version on Fightcade, but apparently you could have mods of it too. So there was tournament edition, and I was like, oh wow, they have this on here. That's the version of glitch apps. And I remember I joined the room, there was nobody in it but just me. I'm like, wow, I guess people don't really like this
They
or
don't
don't
like
want to.
it.
Yeah,
They don't
so
like
in a way, doesn't that speak volumes, Dave? Like they kind of have Torment Edition out there. It's UMK3 without glitch jabs, but no one's
Yeah.
Yeah, I
playing it. They're all
remember
playing.
you saying that. Yeah. Look, man, I'm gonna be somewhat busy in my personal life when it comes out. I'm ready to try anything. I'm gonna buy the game, and I hope I can have some fun with it. I hope we get those 5 features that you discussed literally before, as soon as they even mentioned Legacy. I think that's the first step. A lot of this other stuff, I think it's kind of honestly, with all due respect to everybody, kind of like nerd talk. We need those 5 things, including rank mode. That's the way to build a scene because that's what people will play the most, at least the ones who want to learn the game. If you don't have that, and if you have like a crappy netcode like the first year of MK1, you cannot build a scene, man. I'm sorry, like it will not last. The game will die like within like a month or two. That's the reality of things.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, can we have
Go ahead.
no that go ahead because he was going to say
Yeah,
Oh,
something
I
before.
was
yeah,
I was
yeah.
just finishing about the tournament edition thing. Well, number one is I remember, when it was being made, it was really hyped up and supported. And I remember Rio and Jugs talking about it, and it seemed to be this exciting thing that these guys were making. I think it was Shock and Conquer, or maybe Conquer was the main dude. I don't know the whole,
Conqueror was, I
who
thought.
really made it, but it seemed exciting. I didn't know too much about it. I just kept hearing and reading about it, and then I saw Rio and Jugs, like, I guess, doing these exhibitions, and then
Yeah,
Shock was
just to give
running.
people, you talk about the modded version, just to give people the
Mhm.
perspective. This is a
A modded
modded,
version.
yeah, ultimate. Just
Yeah,
so our
yeah.
audience
Yeah, it's a
understands. Yeah,
modded version
they
of
don't
UMK3 that
understand. Yeah,
fixes all the issues that people had about UMK3 back then when it came out.
well, issues
Yeah,
in
so
quotation marks.
yeah, well, the thing is, and then there was apparently Shock was running the first ever tournament edition tournament and in Red Bank, New Jersey, and I was pretty close to the area. I didn't plan to go, but then I had my friend from Maryland come over. He never been to a tournament. He's like, I want to go out to a tournament. Let's hang out. And I was like, all right, cool. I was really just gonna go to hang out. I'm like, since this dude wants to go, let's just go and have fun. And I said, listen, this is a new version of the game that was created. We're probably not going to win. We don't know how to play it. I know I don't have the game. Let's just go in and have fun. And I had to kind of learn it right when I got there, and I didn't know much about it. I just knew there was no glitch jabs, some stuff here and there, and I won the tournament. And then I learned after that it wasn't just glitch jabs they removed. They did a lot of like nerfing. They changed a lot of properties. They changed a lot of the combos. Basically, it was a whole new game, and
Wait,
that
how'd you
was
guys even play
really,
this? Was this on a PC? How'd you guys even play this? Was this
Mame.
PC only?
Hey,
yeah,
yeah.
MAME. They
Okay,
they made
okay,
it.
okay,
It was
okay.
a MAME port, yeah.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, there was just way too many changes that eventually everyone was just like, what the hell is going on here? You basically unnecessarily did, you made a whole new version that's just like, why? It's just a bunch of stupid stuff. Spin was like way slower, and what Human Smoke did like 33% damage max or something, and people didn't, yeah, just didn't like it. And I
Yeah,
was
some
like,
people
all
are
right.
mad about the nerfs, like really mad.
This is why I tell
Yeah, and
Rio,
But to be
then
guys,
fair,
never
there was
play
some
it.
interesting
Rio,
stuff they added. Like I liked how
yeah,
Shiva's ground stomp when she stomps the ground made you pop up in the air, and then characters like Jade, she
juggle.
threw her boomerang, and it on block it
Mhm.
goes through and comes back. So there was some cool stuff like that. But yeah, some of the nerfs were a little extreme, like the human smoke stuff that Arion said.
They got to learn lesson 101, which I learned the first time I was ever a tester. Another round when they actually put an idea in and you think it's a great idea because you think it only one way, and then you see how it affects the rest of the game, and you're like, oh, it wasn't a good idea after all. And it's just like everyone thinks they have a good idea until they put it in the game and they realize all their ideas aren't as good as they thought. And it's just one of those things. That's why,
That's why I
um,
don't think modded fighting games work. Like
yeah,
it's
they
different
don't.
to yeah. They just then Rio tried to get you and me to play like MK11 modded, even if we gave it a try. I knew it was never going to happen because at that point, you might as well just play a different game.
MK11 modded.
Well, to be fair, that MK11 mod, I think I told you about this, Tom, right? There was an MK11 mod somebody made where it plays more like MKX. They got rid of wake up rolls. They made neutral jump punches launch. They made strings launch. They added more 50-50s everywhere. I'm like, this is kind of the version that, Dave and Tom would probably appreciate more than current MK11 because it has a lot of stuff that they want. So I was trying to get Dave to play it. See, I'm like, we'll see how you like it. Because if you like this, or if you don't like it, then they shouldn't change MK11 to be like this.
Wait,
Then
how? It probably had no rank. Like, what? Tom and I going to start a fucking scene with two people?
Yeah.
What
I
are you
mean,
talking
ultimately,
about?
what I know about
Fuck
MK11
you.
is just regular MK11. They have now added it in prison. Instead of the death penalty, you get life playing
my
MK11.
that's a funny
God.
joke.
You get
Oh my
life. You get
God.
life playing MK11, and the kicker is you actually commit suicide. So it is the death. Oh, I'm sorry, unalive. YouTube. You actually unalive yourself because you're playing MK11.
Okay,
And this
Tom,
is actually
question. Are you going to be playing UMK3 when it comes out?
no. I will not play any one of them. I at first thought about just doing it and streaming for fun. And Dave, this is not to pull a victim complex. I'm just saying.
No,
But then
I'm
I
not
just
saying
remember
that.
how my audience is, and it's just not enjoyable. All of you guys that say, Tom, why don't you stream, watch your YouTube videos? Because it's not enjoyable for me as an old man to stream for all of you, and you're all assholes. It's just like I get it. You want to troll.
No,
Oh,
welcome to the internet.
hold
Welcome to the
on.
internet,
I get it. I get it. You want to troll. We're gonna rile Tom up. We're gonna get a reaction out of him. Brother, I'm old. I don't want to be around people like that. So if that's my audience, I just don't want to stream, and I really don't want to play the game because that's my audience. So I'd prefer
You're
to
telling
not.
me
So
players
I
like
will
me
not-
who've been waiting 30 years for the Grandmaster to come back and bust out the MK3 Sub-Zero, we're not going to be able to see it because I want to play against that.
No, I will not ever come back. No.
So we're not going to be running Cabal versus MK3 Sub-Zero? That's a shame.
Yeah.
Yo,
Not even for
MK3,
1
Tom,
week?
you gotta do it, bro.
No.
MK3, you gotta do it for the fans, bro. MK3
No.
Sub-Zero.
My fans are the worst. And
No, I'm watching. I'm watching. I don't even care about these old games. I'm watching that shit. I know
I don't
whenever
even know
people
if
are
they're
watching.
fans. I don't know what they are.
I don't
but
care. People are what? Tom, I would watch that for real. I really would.
I wouldn't. And I used to always say like people. I remember when myself and Rio were playing MK Deadly Alliance. A lot of people liked watching it. I remember people were like donating to be like Rio's like, who do you want to? People were like subbing to both of us or whatever. They just wanted to see us play. And I always felt if they re-released MK9, people would want to see like me versus Rio, me versus Dave, me versus whatever. Like they would want to see it, because people are interested. But I remember when there was an MK9 tournament I forget when they did one, and I was like, well, maybe I'll come back for it and I'll enter for fun. And I was I hadn't played for a while, and I'm streaming, and the internet's terrible. And my stream was like god awful. And I remember I was playing TE. Rio, you were on some of these streams. My stream chat did nothing but like assault me 24/7. Like, damn, Tom, shit. I don't want to hear that rust. And I was like, I don't know. I haven't played in a little bit. And the connection is bad. You can't.
One of the eye openers for me was when we were playing DA, and then one of the players in the chat were like, "Why is Tom winning? Why is he so good? I don't understand." And I was like, "Damn, why do people really feel that Tom is just bad at everything he touches? Because you were really good at DA, and it was just confusing to read those comments." I'm like, "There's people called literally Tom Lowe's Brady. They have Tom's name in their user tag, and they're like, why is Tom winning in DA? Like, I don't get it. Like, why is he so good?" I'm like,
And
shouldn't you
it's to the
guys be
point where-
supporting the streamer you're watching instead of just being there to bash them?
I remember one time I was playing MK11, and I ran into either Ketchup or Mustard, and they were playing Kano, and I was playing Sub-Zero, and I won the set. It was in Combat League. And the chat was like, hello, how you lose to Tom? Hey, lose to Tom. And normally Ketchup and Mustard don't give in to trolling. They pause the stream and say, all right, the joke that Tom is garbage, blah, 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 blah. It's actually not true. Like, he's not a garbage player. Like, this is stupid and yada, yada, yada. But people generally were like, oh, how you lose to that? I mean, but that's kind of like always what my streams are. And I get it. It's maybe a bit that they do to try to rile me up or whatever. But dude, I'm old now. And like, I don't want to be around that. And that's just kind of what my audience is. And I would just kind of prefer not to be around that. If I try to come back to MKX, and try to learn, take some rust off. Oh, Tom, and I'm like, hey, Bear, let's play some sets. Oh, Tom, shit. Yeah, I don't want to. Like, it's so stupid. I can't play. I can't get back into any game. I can't learn anything.
It's hard to get back to Netflix. I'll tell you this right now. After playing it
I
yesterday,
just don't want to deal with it.
Tom. There's people with 6,000 wins and 500 losses. Like, they're ridiculous at the game. You will never move. It's always their turn. They get out of that one. They get out of everything.
Oh, and MKX, yeah. But I would play just for like my fans. The problem is my fans are the ones that make me not want to play because they're assholes. It's like, hey, Tom's playing. Let me show my support by telling him how shit he is. And Dave, I understand you think, Tom is a victim. Rio once thought like this too. And I remember when
Rio doesn't.
Hold on, no. I remember E-League first came out.
The MKDA thing and the E-League thing. Those two things definitely opened my eyes. The MKDA thing and the E-League thing.
And then it was E-League. So E-League happened, and this is before any of the drama with me happened in MK11. This is the first couple of weeks. And E-League is like, we're bringing in the biggest streamers. The first 2 years of MKX, I had the most views. Year 1 of MK11, I was the number 1 streamer. Year 1. By views, it was me. This is before Focky started streaming everything. I led the league, led in hours watched. It was me. Streamed every day. And Rio was like, Tom, are you going to play in E-League? And I was like, no, because they're just never going to let me play. And this is before any of that drama happened. A year before any of that drama happened. And Rio's like, what are you talking about? You're a big YouTube, whatever. People know who you are. And so every week, it was never me. I never got selected. And Rio was like, well, maybe you said you were retiring. Maybe they don't know you want to play. Like, just let them know on Twitter. Like, hey, like, I want to play. Like, I'm playing. So I went on Twitter and I was like, hey, yeah, I am interested in competing. And the problem is the community first, they were like, well, Tom, you said you retired. You're not saying you don't want to play. Because I'm like, well, if I say I want to play, they'll say, Tom, shut the fuck up about it. So, but then they're like, well, they don't know you want to play. You say you retired. So then I'm tweeting it. They're like, oh my God, Tom, why don't you shut up about tweeting? Just the trolling thing they do. And it got to the point where they were bringing in people who didn't even own the game. They brought in some girl who bought the game to play in E-League and then returned it the next day. And they were actually in the Discord.
Is that true?
Yes. And they were actually in the Discord saying, we need people. Does anyone know anybody? And Rio and Rico, who had been in E-League, were like, yeah, just bring in Tom. And they were like, anybody else? Do you have anybody else but Tom? And it got to a point where Rio was streaming and a lot of the audience there was like, we're going to show our support to Tom. And while when Rio's stream is up, we're going to spam some of the Tom soundboard. And it wasn't like cursing or anything like that. It was just like my quote, the ice clone shouldn't go away and block, blah, blah, blah. E-League then told Rio, they took a stream off and said, if you're going to be using Tom quotes, we're just not going to have you on anymore. And in fact, people in the NetherRealm chat, before they would go to E-League, were spamming, we want Tom, including my sponsor at the time, and they would ban anyone for a day that mentioned it.
Yeah, I had to remove my entire Tom soundboard because of that from my stream.
Yeah. So I'm not trying to victim here, Dave, but to act like there wasn't some, even if it was trolling to get under my skin, and yeah, maybe I reacted to it for quite a while, which only added to it. I'm not removing my part in it, but I mean, like now, I just don't want to deal with that. Just
no, fair enough. Let me just say this, and we'll go back on topic, and maybe you can wrap it up with no doubts last word. But like Tom, people like you, and to a lesser extent me, because I don't have your name recognition, we're not known as, I don't know, I know Doubt, who just competed and he just did his best and he stayed out of the drama. Like, let's be serious here. We're the WWE performers, right? Like
But YouTube is entertainment, Dave. Why was MK9 considered more box office? Because there were more entertainers.
No, exactly. But that's the point I'm trying to say. Like, and you definitely play to that persona. To deny you're just lying. Like, you're just lying.
Yeah,
right?
but if I'm trying to stream, but I don't want the persona of being someone who was shit his whole life and garbage at everything. And I don't want to be streaming for people considered my fans.
Like you said, it goes both ways, right? Like, I'm not saying you're 100% at fault, but you're also not 100% innocent, and neither is your audience or anybody else.
My audience has to pretend like, what? What do you mean? That's why I just say, fuck you guys, I'm not coming back.
There's a reason, like, I don't know, it was season beatings, it was MK9, you guys weren't there, I had just lost the Waffles, they put me on stream. you know why they did it, right? They didn't do it
Yeah, yeah,
for,
yeah.
they didn't do it for, you know, an in-depth analysis of the Freddy versus Smoke matchup, right? They did it
Yeah,
for a purpose, right? They did it
yeah.
because they know I'm going to lash out, and everybody had a laugh, and then I got blown up. That's the point, right? Like that's you and me, and I think Rio has a much better balance, and I think no doubt as a great, even the best balance. But like, yeah, anyway, you get the point, right? We play to that persona, and we play it because we want to entertain people, and people want to get entertained. They really, really do. Trust me. In my own person, like I have to entertain people to get their attention, so I can teach them something, right? That's how Live Life works, and it's amazing. You wouldn't believe how sensitive people are to the entertainment factor. But anyway, I'm not into here to talk about uh,
Yeah, I mean,
human
overall, I
psychology.
understand
Yeah,
what you're saying, but for me, it's just not something that's desirable. I can't
and
shake the
I don't
feeling.
blame you for that. I understand your
Look,
modern
I understand,
perspective.
but look, sometimes I want to be entertaining. Like the ice clone is not functioning properly. That was meant for me to highlight a bug, but to try to be entertaining when I did it because it's a YouTube video, Dave.
Okay,
People
that
watch
was
YouTube
funny.
to be, but people, and I
Yeah,
was
it's
trying to be
hilarious.
funny about it. I had the elevator music in the background. Welcome to the. It was meant to be funny. The reason why, like people on one hand pretend like they like my material as a joke. That's why they make a soundboard material out of it. But then when they want to vilify me, they act like it's terrible and toxic. And I'm like, you recognize it entertaining. I did it for entertainment. You guys say you like it, but then also decide when you don't like it anymore, when you want to try to like excuse you guys take crapping on me. And I understand when you're entertaining like that, yeah, you're gonna have, yeah, I understand, totally understand it. But I just can't shake the feeling. I remember I first started streaming, go to Combo Breaker, come back, I got 2,000 people. I got ninth, obviously, sucks, did my best. I was depressed the whole tournament afterwards. Like Ed Boon was like, "Oh my god, well you got ninth out of 251 people? What do you mean you're garbage?" I'm like, "Ed, you don't understand." Like and I come home and I thought, oh, that's all right. I'm gonna level up. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna do better next time. Ninth came really close. Lost to some good players. My chat, my God, you would think like I was Jack the Ripper. Like they literally annihilated me, and I'm like, why do these people hate me so much? And I just remembered all the times that they would do what is it called? ESL, whenever anyone picks Sub Zero. I mean, the whole chat just, Tom, take notes, Tom, shit. And I'm like, these people don't even know I'm watching. I'm watching, not even logged in. Like, it's just such a meme now. Like, I'm like, it's just so, I'm like, why? I've never seen people, then they'll come to my stream. No, Tom, we're just trolling. We love you. Like, and like, I just hated that. Like I hated it like so much. I hated trying to get back into. I hated trying to learn MK. Getting back into MK Deadly Alliance for fun, and the chat saying Tom's stuck living in the past. He can't move on, or playing MK9 for fun. Like, hey, maybe I want to go to this tournament that they're holding again. Oh my God, Tom, you're shit. You're never going to give it up. You're living in the past. You can't. And I'm like, man, like it's just not fun for me. I will never be able to shake that feeling. And all these people now can say, "Oh, well, that was those guys. We're different." It's too late. Like I'll never shake that feeling. You don't. How people make you feel, you'll never shake that feeling. And I'll still be bitter if I stream. I'll never shake that feeling. So the best thing is just to not play anymore.
Well, I do appreciate your honesty, and I think we're kind of getting off track here. Maybe that's a
Yeah,
topic I
yeah.
would actually, yeah, I would love to discuss another time. I don't know how you feel, but I kind of want to wrap it up because I really have to go. It's up to you, my
Yeah,
friend, if
so
you want to
real
keep going.
quick, I just want to ask one last question and then we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
So I want to
Sounds good.
ask, which players are you guys looking forward to returning when this collection's out? We'll start with No Doubt.
Question.
Oh, I actually don't know if they're gonna return, but man, Winter Wars, it's like
He's
probably
on
the
my
number one.
list, yeah.
I
Used to play
really
with
want
him
to see
all the
it. Like
time.
he's like really good. Like
Hmm.
I would pay money to like see some matches against him. This dude named Alanis from XPL, from Mexico, he's really really good. And maybe I think Shady McGrady said he might try it. I think that'd be cool to see him. And I was gonna say Crazy Dominican, but he does still play here and there. I just don't know if he's getting legacy, but it'd be cool if he could. Yeah, if he's more active. And yeah, I think that, and then maybe Hanzo from Venezuela.
It would be awesome to see Hanzo make a return along with RZP and a lot of the others. So for my list, I'd love to see this from the Xbox days. I'd love to see DC Hustle make a return. Shaney McGrady. I know Jugs is going to be playing. Yeah, Winter Wars, which was already mentioned. Crazy Dominican, which was already mentioned. And look, this is not to stir drama, but I also want to see Lex return, just because I want to see what he can do in WaveNet. Like I would be so down to see like what he can pull off and do to show off people. But yeah, that's my list.
My
I'm
list, I
looking
would
forward
love to
Crazy
see
Dominican.
Tom Brady return and Perfect Legend.
I'm looking forward to Crazy Dominican. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to hopefully Crazy Dominican returning. I would love to see Hanzo return. RZP, I haven't heard that name in a long time. Ninja Grinder, all those
Tom
guys.
Grandmaster Brady.
Yeah, those guys are legends.
I would love to see those guys all come back. And I really, the biggest return I want to see is Sonic Fox proving that he is the
Oh my
greatest
God!
Mortal
I
Kombat
knew you.
player
I
of all.
knew Tom was gonna take the cheap shot. Tom walked
Look,
back to the.
hold on, Dave. Hold on, man. Hold on.
Let's not go there.
Hold
Let's
on,
not
man.
go
Hold on,
there.
hold on.
No,
Listen.
no, I want to hear the story.
Hold on.
No, I wanna hear this.
If you were going to accept the moniker of the greatest, this is not even on Sonic Fox. This is on all of his fans. This is not on Sonic. He doesn't give a fuck. This is all Sonic Fox's fans, because I think Sonic Fox is one of the probably 3 greatest fighting game players of all time. On the Mortal Kombat Mount Rushmore because of the weight of what he has accomplished. But there is no greatest Mortal Kombat player of all time. And if you Sonic Fox fans want to prove me wrong, then you can tell Sonic to get on one of the 80% of the games that he has never played, and he will get his ass busted. And you can all shut the fuck up about who's hating on him being the greatest
Jesus.
Mortal Kombat player of all time. The reason why Sonic is not playing this game is because he does not play this game. He never has. And there is no greatest single Mortal
Are you
Kombat
sure
player
about
of all
that?
time.
How do we know when this comes out? He's not going to bust out socks in UMK3 and start destroying people.
Well, what I want to see is that I want to see Sonic enter a tournament the very first day of this game, no practice. Because if you are currently the greatest Mortal Kombat player of all time, you are already that good. I should never have to hear, well, he doesn't play the game, he needs to practice. What do you mean he doesn't? How can you be the greatest Mortal Kombat player of all time, and when you name 80% of the Mortal Kombat titles, it has to be followed with, well, he doesn't play that game, give him time to practice. How can you be the greatest MK player of all time and not have played 80% of the titles? And this is not me throwing shade at Sonic. I literally said he's one of the 3 greatest fighting game players of all time. I literally said he's the greatest NRS player of all time. And on the MK Mount Rushmore. I'm just joking at his fans who called me a hater, because even after I gave him all those accolades as a top 3 greatest fighting game player to ever live, it's tough to get higher praise than that. I don't give a fuck what the game is. I just wouldn't say, I can't say he's the best at 80% at these games he's never played, because he's never played them. Hater, don't you know what he would do? All right, then show me. That's all I got to say.
Fair
And that's
enough.
as a joke, but go fuck yourselves. Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't think Sonic is going to do good at UMK when it comes out because he doesn't play. But if he would dedicate his time to it, I think he'd be one of the
I
most.
think he'd be very good. I mean,
I think he'd be one of the
plays.
most annoying Human Smoke players to play. I don't know why, but I can see Sonic playing that character, Human Smoke.
No,
would
I
fit
think
him.
Sonic Fox would be good at any game he plays. I was only disputing the fact that he is currently no one single player is the greatest overall Mortal Kombat player of all time, because you run into too many different games across too many different eras, and no one person has dominated
Yeah,
them
and they all
all.
play so different from each other. On top of it,
Yeah, so different.
I think Tom is referring to people like Crimson Shadow who are too afraid to come on the podcast now. But essentially, Crimson will like always glaze Sonic Fox no matter what. Which, again, there's plenty to glaze Sonic Fox 4, right?
Of course,
Right.
of course.
Yeah. But sometimes there maybe isn't, but Chris will still nonetheless get on his knees. But the point is, I think there has to be a balance between the two, and I agree
Yeah,
with Tom's
I'm just
take.
taking a shot for fun. I got nothing against Sonic or his fans.
Me
I'm just
neither.
taking a shot because literally you can give Sonic all the flowers in the world. You can say again, greatest NRS player of all time. Mount Rushmore. The fact that he hasn't played 80% of the titles, but he is on the Mount Rushmore of them just shows how dominant he has been in the NRS era that he's even on the overall Mortal Kombat Mount Rushmore. So greatest NRS player of all time. MK Mount Rushmore player and one of the top 3 greatest overall fighting game players to ever live and maybe possibly will ever live. And that praise will warrant you as a Sonic Fox hater. If you don't say, but Sonic Fox is also the best at MK 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, how? How is he the best at all? He's never played any of these games. How is he the best? Hater. Okay. I mean, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. And Crimson is one of them. Stupid. But you know what he would do? I don't know. I don't know what would do is. I don't know. I don't know. The same people that say in MK11, the last Evo, he would have won if he played, but he DQ'd himself. Well, I find that funny because he did play the year before and he got 5th. So I don't know what you're talking about. The Nicholas or Scorpion Prox won. So I don't know what bizarro world you're living in. You know, this is why, again, I'm getting off topic, but I was just taking a rib back because God knows the Sonic Fox fan club has been killing me lately.
All right. Well, with that said, do you guys have any closing statements you want to make before we wrap it up?
I hope the game is tremendous. I would love to see it at Evo. I would love to see it.
I would also love to see that.
I would love to see it at Evo. It would, and I would love to talk to Crimson Shadow if they put it at Evo and it has more numbers than MK1 ever had. I would just love to bring him on the show to say, yeah, Crim, you're right. These broken games, people sure don't like them, like UMK3, like Marvel, like Third Strike, you know. And if they do put this game at Evo and it beats MK1's previous numbers, I think they should put Karate Champ at Evo to really put the grave on MK1, and so that can beat its numbers too.
My final take: remove glitch traps, add armor, and ultimate.
Can't do that.
If you want, you could play TE on Fight Kid.
I'm just playing. I'm just
Hey,
trolling.
did they fix Cabal's low punch? Does it still have priority?
It does, but if you tap block, you instantly stop jabbing and you go into block. So Cabal's a lot easier to deal with.
Anyway, let me tell you. Let me tell you. I'm gonna try my best to play all these games. I will be very busy around. Obviously, it's holiday season when the game gets released. So, but I want to try it, and I want to be supportive. And like Tom said earlier, we do want to encourage people like Mr. Aquaman, Ribs, Demons, Demon Lobby, etc., etc. All these people who make these modern, who stream these modern games, and by the way, get great numbers, including Brazil. Brazil has a great Mortal Kombat scene, gets really good, really good numbers, at least for viewership. So, I think the people are there, the right people are there. It's a matter of making everything work. That's my final statement.
And Furion?
Oh, my final statement is I think me and Rio should play on Fightcade sometime.
I'm definitely down, yeah. I'll be playing at least once or twice a week, so any of those nights you can feel free to send me a message.
Rio, what times do you normally stream?
It'll be
I
fun.
usually stream like around either 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. just for a couple hours. My streams aren't too long, they're like 2 hours or so.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. I catch all your YouTube videos. Like I caught the
Yeah,
I was,
well, when I came back to Fightcade, it was very sad to see that the thing that people were
Yeah, I
doing
saw
4
that
years ago
video.
is still in there, because I thought, and apparently in the chat during that, Biggs told me that someone else did it to him during that day too, and he decided playing Fightcade. So it's kind of ranked is kind of screwed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rio, basically just avoid Powerball and avoid Y77. Now it's annoying because there's a lot of alias accounts and they play on aliases to do that shit, but it's mainly those two, and so. But it's funny when Rio came on under a different name. I was watching a match of his and I knew it was him from his playstyle. I just knew it, and I tagged him. I'm like, oh, you're
That's
on Alias. What's
interesting
up?
how you knew it was
I don't know.
me.
I just
How
knew,
did you
I
know it
knew
was
it
my
was you.
playstyle? I'm curious because it's been a while since you've seen me
I
play.
just knew, and then the thing is, in my head, I'm like, maybe I'm wrong because listen, on Fightcade, there's like 20 aliases for like one player because the higher rank you are, the harder it is to get matches. But if you're a C rank like you are or lower, it's actually very easy to get matches. Believe it or not, you just got to go on Fightcade more. But then when you posted your upload on YouTube, I'm like, see, I knew it. I just knew it. But it goes to show you how much I remember
That's pretty.
15
It
years
must have been
ago.
because I was playing Nightwolf.
Yeah, and there's just, Rio has a style, and then I saw some of his matches with Detroit, both live and then more on stream. And despite how rusty and how, he hasn't played in a while, look how well he can hold up. Like he's, really strong. And it's just, it'd be so cool to just watch him play active again. And it'd be awesome to watch him.
Yeah, but
You
also
know,
to be fair, I'm playing Nightwolf, which is, let's be honest here, he's not the hardest character to play. It's pretty straightforward, easy to pick up and play.
No, but that doesn't matter. I mean, to still, get close matches with Detroit, someone like him, and still hold up against, modern Fightcade
Yeah, I remember
players, even
even
if you
he
lost.
said he was surprised that I can get a game off him or whatever because he usually steamrolls people from what he tells me.
He steamrolls like 95%, yeah, or 90% of everyone. No one really wants to play him. So, but even if you lost by 20 matches, there were so many close games. And I'm like, this year's, what I do want to say is like, as much as the game has evolved, um, I think fundamentally it hasn't. From what me and you knew back in 2011, our 2011 version can still hold up pretty well today. There's just a couple new things, but if you just, get used to the hitbox and keyboard players and some of these, high execution combos, like you're going to be fine.
Yeah, I agree. Because
Rio,
even
definitely upload
back in
tutorial.
2011, me and Arion were really good at jabbing, so we understand like how the jabs works. We just the things I didn't know back then. I don't know if Arion knew this, but back when we were playing on MAME, I didn't know that you could full combo some sweeps on block. That high kicks weren't so unsafe. That you could do like OSs or like punches into strings. If they're close, they get launched. If they're not, you go into like things like that. The super advanced stuff that you have to really look at the game for.
Rio was trying to do sweeps, spins on Cabal with blocking.
No, I know. The thing is, when I was playing against Cabal back then, I would never sweep because I was
Oh, you
scared to
never
block
sweep
and
'cause you
punish
didn't
it. Yeah. Imagine I knew the
Yeah, yeah.
knowledge now back then. Do you know how much I would have been sweeping the hell out of these Cabal players and low kicking them? It would have been like nonstop. But this is what happens.
Yeah,
I mean, you
if you
learn
sweep
as you go.
if you sweep in Ermac today, it's like that's it. You get 72
Yeah.
to
See, that's
75%
also
to
new.
100%.
Yeah, that's
That's it. You're
crazy.
done. You're over with. So you have to be on your toes even way more than the past. And then as far as there are some fundamental things that we saw bits and pieces of back then, but now you see it more regularly today, like those jump up auto combos that not only you get off of mid screen, but they're doing it on cross up as well. And also the seventh frame counters are crazy. That's the key word is seventh frame. Everyone is accessing these seventh frame uppercuts, seventh frame counters, invisible wake ups. I sent you a video, remember, in your and it's basically what you're opening, you think is your opening is no longer your opening. Now you get punished for your own opening.
Yeah, and also
So it's
glitch
like
cancels and priority and stuff. That's all like very things you have to understand and learn if you want to reach the
yeah,
next
and
level
I
in the
mean, a
game.
lot of that, there is a lot of bullshit with that. I mean, the rollback on Fightcade is pretty crazy with all the fluctuating FPS and all the rollback and all the bullshit. It does create scenarios that really aren't possible. But at the same time, like I said, through the bullshit, there's a lot of things I've learned and a lot of cool things I'm seeing. And it's just, yeah, there is an evolution. It's exciting. And I think it'd be cool to see Rio back again, like full force. And he'd probably be top again. I mean, it's just pretty obvious he was doing well that one night coming on.
I'm definitely
So
going to be
I mean-
playing a lot of it when it comes out. It's going to be my main game. I'm going to stream every night.
Rio, what do you get it? You got it on Steam. What
I
about
already
you,
have
Ariel?
it. I already have it pre-ordered on Steam.
I actually believe it. You're not going to believe this. I didn't get it yet.
What? You're not
Because-
getting it?
I thought he was gonna say
No,
Switch. I was
I'm
gonna
getting
die.
it.
I was like,
No, I
Oh,
might.
you don't have
I
it
most
pre-ordered.
likely.
yeah, you didn't
I
pre-order
most
yet.
likely will get it. I'm just waiting for people to, like, I'm gonna be like, so what's wrong with it? If it's really bad, I'm gonna wait till they patch it. Then I'm gonna get it
Dave,
because
what
I
are
don't
you
want to
getting
be
it
pissed
on?
off. But I'll get
Definitely
it on
PS5.
for now the
Definitely
computer
PS5.
PC.
Yeah, I hope it's nothing like Arcade Collection because when that came out during MK9, I remember trying it. It was so bad online you could barely move. It was like
Oh,
2 second delay.
Real,
It was
remember? No, real.
And there
Remember
was
we were
this
at these
player
meetings
called
that they ran
Tricky.
the tournament.
I remember playing this dude called Tricky, and I played him online. I'm like, what is this robot smoke player? He does telecut on block into spear, and I can't punish it with Cabal. This is the worst port I've ever played in my life.
Well, and also he was in Italy. He's like in some random island off Italy, so the ping was like 150, 200.
Yeah, it was absurd,
So-
but when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not playing Arcade Collection because that was kind of going to be the thing that I guess blew up near MK9, but it just the port was so bad that people kind of just stopped playing it after like a few weeks.
Yeah, it was worse.
Oh,
It
it
was
was a piece,
worse than
it was
the
a piece of
Xbox Live
shit.
Arcade version.
Yeah, it was
It was
horrendous.
that bad. Yeah. Well, again, if there's enough people, if there are people that actually like have an interest in like Tom, I would love to watch you play. I would do it. I'll read the comments. Spoiler.
Yeah. By the way,
I
Tom,
don't
if you want to watch that set that Arian's talking about, the Me vs. Detroit, I have a channel called.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I
yeah.
need you. You should upload a tutorial because a lot of people will not know how to do the jabbing that you're talking about. You need to upload a tutorial so that people can understand because they're going to come to this and they say, "How do I do it?" So you need to upload a tutorial so they know how to do it, so they know how to practice, so they can get it down. Just the basics, and then they can learn from there.
Yeah, I have one of those up probably tomorrow because it's so easy to make a video on that. You could teach someone how to do block jab in like probably a couple minutes.
Yeah. I'm just, most people hear it, but they don't know how to do it. So
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, well, I guess we'll wrap it up here. So with that said, thank you guys for watching episode 43. Let us know how you feel about any of the topics we covered today. Do you guys agree with some of them? Or are there anything you guys disagree with? And let us know which version you're getting the Legacy Collection for at the end of the month. Are you getting it for PlayStation, Xbox, or PC? That said, see you guys in the next episode. Thanks again for watching.
I guess.